Welcome back to another episode of Hashing It Out with Javi. This is episode 12. I'm excited about this one. I got a good friend of mine I've known since I was, a young boy.
Very little boy.
Very little boy. So we'll talk more about how I know this man, but his name is Robert, and I brought him on because he has a lot of life experience. He's been in the military. He's been in law enforcement. He has a history of being sort of a mentor and a leader with young boys, both from a coaching perspective with football, and even from kids that went to schools of continuation schools, kids with a troubled background. So anyways, welcome to the podcast, Rob. What's up?
Thanks, man. What's up, man?
What's going on?
Oh, life. Trying to survive the Rona.
The Rona, yeah. It's weird times, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Strange times. I mean, not just the Rona, but the election and all kinds of other crazy stuff.
All kinds of crazy stuff. We were supposed to do this last week, and then I had to put it on standby because we got put on standby, and just a lot of crazy stuff going on right now.
Yeah, so talk about that. So we were supposed to do this podcast last week, and unfortunately we had to put it on standby because the inauguration, and so Robert is in the National Guard.
Yep.
And the Nasty Guard.
The Nasty Guard. But don't get it twisted. Everybody likes to laugh at the National Guard, and but a lot of most of the guys that are in the unit with me are like super experienced in combat, and at one point they were in the big army, they call it, which is active duty, and have been in Afghanistan, Iraq, different theaters all over the world, and that's what the National Guard is comprised of now. So it's not like the National Guard you would think of like in the 80s.
Right.
And the one you see like on Delta Force.
Right.
Like Larry the Cable Guy and stuff. A lot of people think that's what it's about, but it's not. We train hard and we work really hard, and those guys are super respectable and really good soldiers. Yeah,
I realized how much they were respected during the protests of George Floyd, right? So
yes.
I remember you were deployed, and
we were in well, we don't call it a deployment. We were sent to Los Angeles to help out with the situation, and for the most part, we didn't have to do much because everybody was calm and everybody was good. So it was just the first night that we got there. We had did some stuff because there was looting going on in downtown Los Angeles. Later on, I moved out towards the different outskirts of Los Angeles, like Long Beach and Santa Monica, but downtown was secured after that, and it was nice because a lot of the people were thankful that we were there and were thanking us. We did encounter some people that weren't too happy that we were there, and I got called a race trader.
A race trader.
I got called a race trader. They said, "Look at your name tag. You're a race trader." And I was like, "What? That's like so racist of you to say that."
Were they woke? Was that woke people?
That was woke people, I guess. But they were calling me a race trader, and and it's kind of funny because I think of the whole notion of race is like ridiculous. I think there's cultural differences.
Sure.
But race in the whole idea of race in itself is absurd. It was some German scientist, I can't remember his name. He decided to break up humans into 3 different races, and there's Negroid, Mongoloid, and Caucasoid, and that was it. There was 3 races, and and he just kind of made it up. And now we think it's fact, and it's just kind of
it's funny you say that because it's true, man. If you look into the history of race, if you go all the way back, you're right. It did start with the Germans, and I can't remember his name. I know who you're talking about because it's ringing a bell now. But it was the Mongoloids, and I always thought like, well, where do Mexicans fit in there?
We're Mongoloids.
We're Mongoloids, right?
We're Mongoloids. So,
fucking Mongoloids.
Yeah. So now we're like Mongolitos,
But to just backtrack a little bit, so you're being humble because I think the National Guard really made a difference during the George Floyd protests because.
Definitely,
fucking going wild, dude, before you guys got there.
Yeah, the LAPD thanked us when we showed up. So we showed up, and right away they sent us out to the street. We dropped our stuff off at the convention center, and we went out to the streets. And kind of the fact that we were able to cover so much area kind of calm things down. And so it was because the LAPD was spread thin.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we were there, we showed up to help. It was good. And it's funny. It's funny now because we had originally they gave us cots, these little cheap FEMA cots, right? and then we left out. We were walking around for about 12 hours, and we come back and our cots are gone. So we had to sleep on the floor.
Who took your cots?
We don't know. Someone, I think it was like some Air Force guys.
Some woke kid.
Up. Yeah. No, it was other military people.
Oh, okay.
So I remember earlier I was talking to you about the difference between pogues and grunts.
Yes.
So the grunts were out walking on the streets, and the pogues were in the back
sleeping on your cots.
Sleeping on our cots. So they get all the good stuff. They get the good food. They get the thank you. They get to pose with pictures of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Two hots in a cot.
Yeah. And we're out walking around for 16 hours, and then we come back to sleep on the floor, which is better than when we normally sleep.
Right.
So I see a lot of people like talking about how the National Guard troops are being treated in Washington right now, and because they got to sleep on the floor in a parking lot. I'm like, man, that's a lot better than.
Dude, they were sleeping in the Capitol building. It's warm in that building. It's cold in DC right now.
I would rather be sleeping on that floor right there than outside. Normally we sleep in the dirt. Normally we're sleeping in the mud. Normally we're sleeping in like really bad places. Like at one point, I was telling my mother was asking me about this, and she was and I was telling her, and I said at one point we were training in Louisiana. And we were walking around, it's about midnight, and they tell us, all right, we're going to bed down here. They're like, just be careful because Charlie Company's been pooping here all week. So we can't turn on our lights because we're trying to be stealth. And so you can't tell the difference between a rock or a turd. So you're just laying down, and you're just like, in the morning, you're waking up, you're just like, man, I hope I didn't lay on a turd, It's a human turd you're laying on. So, but that's why like now those guys that's fine that they're sleeping in the parking lot on the floor. That's better than
they weren't. But that's what I'm saying. Like okay, so they brought in. Okay, so I'm gonna go out in the weeds a little bit here because it's kind of crazy. So what happened at the Capitol building was insane, right?
Yes, absolutely,
so
absolutely.
It was an absolute attack on our democracy. I think it was way crazier than people really realized because I think the news really held back.
Yeah, definitely.
So 5 people died.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
One woman who was a Trump supporter if you've watched the video, I think
she tried to jump through a window. They told her not to.
Yes.
She tried to jump through a window. There was senators still inside the building.
Pence was in that area as well.
And they were chanting "Hang Pence."
Yes. They brought. So the thing is, a lot of people don't understand. So I want to put this out there because a lot of people don't know really what happened. They're just angry because of what the news told them. But if you really looked into it and dug deep, there was a group of people who brought a noose.
Yes.
And were ready to hang senators. They built a noose.
They built a gallows.
A gallows,
outside.
Yeah. A gallows outside. If you guys know what a gallows is, it's to hang people.
Yeah. And
it's to hang people, basically, if you're trying to overthrow a government or people that are, like, think of like the French gallows or, whatever else, right? So, or, the time of when they were using guillotines, right? It's a show of force that, hey, we're not going to take your shit anymore and we own you and we're going to kill you if we want to.
Yeah, definitely.
And so, in 2021, there was a group of people who showed up to the Capitol building of the most powerful, most democratic nation in the history of mankind that we know that's documented.
Yes.
And people kind of batted their eyes. But so people showed up with the news, but there was also pipe bombs that were found. Mm-hmm. There was also tons of rounds, Molotov cocktails. Yeah. There was
weapons.
Not all of the people that were there that showed up were there to do that. But there was certain actors within that group that were definitely very dangerous.
Yes.
And I think we'll look back on this historically and go, holy shit, you know what I mean? But in the same token, some of them that got into the Capitol building, into the area where I can't remember if it was the House or the Senate. They got to where the speaker of the House would sit, right? Typically where Pence would sit or whatever. The guy with the fucking, he had the Viking suit on.
It's a Senate. Yeah.
It's a Senate, right? He's the, what do they call him? The shaman something, the QAnon shaman or some shit. Like that guy got into there, right? And the cop in there, people love to talk shit, but he's by himself. Yeah. There's 1,000 people outside the door and it's him by himself. And he's literally asking the guy, hey man, can you not do that? Hey man, can you do that? What is he supposed to do? But you know what I mean? Like fucking, people are like, well, why didn't he put his life on the line? I don't know. I mean, put yourself in those shoes, put yourself in his shoes. Because what people don't know is that although 5 people died, there was many, many, many people who were from the Capitol Police that were injured, who were injured very gravely and badly from physically fighting off these people. People think they just gave up and were like, oh no, it's okay, you can come in. Because there are videos it's kind of weird, right? There are videos where like people were kind of let in.
Yeah.
But there's also stories and accounts, and there's many Capitol Police that were fighting like literally hand to hand combat with people.
Definitely, and they were outnumbered. They were outnumbered, and then so I mean, just to put a disclaimer out there, I'm not promoting any political party or anybody. I think I'm first and foremost, the Constitution is what I'm, allegiance. My allegiance is to the Constitution of the United States, and so I think our democracy is set up the way it is. Are there flaws to it? Absolutely, there's flaws. And I think it's not the perfect thing, but it's the best thing.
Yeah.
I think I look at other nations and I look at their situations and what things that go on in their countries, and it's completely different. We're not the best. We're the best, but are we like in terms of can we get better? Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely.
That's the key word. That's the key thing is, can we get better? People love to say, "Oh, why would we say we're the best? We're obviously not the best." Dude, people that say that are probably some of the most what's the word I'm looking for? They are just people that come from a reality and a lifestyle that has not had to deal with what others have had to deal with. Absolutely. So I have friends from other countries that come from like Brazil, for instance, right? And other countries where they're in a sense democratic, but their countries are still really fucked up. And like they look at when I talk to them, they're like, "Dude, I don't get Americans." I'm like, "Why?" Because here you can literally do what the fuck you want to do. If you really want to do it and you work hard enough, you can do it. Yeah, like absolutely. In my country, no matter how hard I work, where I come from, I cannot get my mom out of a hut on the side of a mountain.
So I went. My band went on tour.
Entitled was the word I'm looking for, by the way.
Exactly.
Sorry.
My band went on tour in Mexico, and one of our buddies went around with us, and the guy's super wealthy. You know what I mean? The guy that went with us, and so one day we were walking around the plaza in Pátzcuaro, Michoacán, and I looked around and I said, "Man, these people work so hard, but they get nothing to show for their work."
Right.
And then he says, "Yes, because there's no opportunity."
Right.
So the difference is they're not lazy.
They're not lazy.
They're not by any sort whatsoever. They're hardworking people. I mean, they work hard.
Yep.
And I think growing up, my trips to Mexico with my parents showed me that. Seeing how I had when I was a little kid, I used to go and play with my cousins. And then it got to the point where I'd show up at like maybe 11 or 12 years old. And I'm looking for my cousins and I can't find them. Why? Because they're working.
Yep.
They're working in the fields.
Yep.
And it wasn't like, hey, let's go play. No, they can't play no more. They got to work.
Right.
And so I was like, whoa, taken back.
And there's no child labor laws over there.
There's no.
Ándale, cabrón, trabajar.
And they were plowing fields. Like they were still plowing fields with horses. You know what I mean? Yeah. It wasn't tractors. They were throwing fertilizer by hand, carrying 50-pound, 90-pound sacks on their back, throwing that out by hand.
Right.
And so, one day I went to work with them. And I remember I was doing this thing called moler rastrojo, and it's where they get the corn stalks and they tie them all up and they let them dry out, and then once they dry out, they go and they grind them up and then they feed them to their cattle.
Right. So
you picture this thing where this bundle is probably maybe 5-6 feet wide bundle of corn stalks, and you're tearing it apart and it's dry and the leaves are cut in your hands. Right. And you're throwing it in a grinder, and all you have to cover your face is a bandana.
Yeah,
so you're throwing.
And this is pre-COVID, by the way.
Yeah, this is pre-COVID.
This has stopped the maize from getting your lungs.
Yeah, and you're getting all this stuff, and you're getting these big old snots, with all kinds of stuff in it, and I was just like, man, these guys they're getting paid nothing, and they're working their asses off, for that, and so it it was a reality check for me, and I look at how lucky we are to have been born here. Yeah. But at the same time, we were lucky that we had all this, but at the same time, we were unlucky because we probably don't know the extent of what true hunger is,
struggle,
or what true struggle is. Mm-hmm. That builds character. You know what I mean? It sucks that you have to go through it, but I think of like I have a distant cousin who came to the United States, and he came here illegally, and now the guy's a millionaire.
Yeah.
You know, the guy running multiple businesses here in California, and he's super wealthy. He's bought his houses and stuff like that. And he's a little bit older than me, but I'm nowhere near him.
Right.
You know what I mean? In terms of producing money.
Right.
You know, making capital. Like it's not even close.
But he came with nothing. And he came with
nothing. Though. Didn't speak the language. Didn't know the system, and he made it work. I think of my father. My father came here at 15. Think about leaving your house at 15 and not knowing the language. You don't know the language of where you went to. You're there illegally. You have to hide.
Yep.
You know, and you have to just work your ass off.
Yep.
And he did that.
Yeah.
At 15.
And look how successful your family is, though.
Yeah, exactly. And so you know,
but let me tell the people a little bit about your family, though, because I'm proud. This family is like personal friends to me, right? Like, so just so you guys know, Robert is he's my brother's friend, my brother's age, and they're about 5 years older than me. Yep. His younger brother, Alex, who is one of my dear friends for many, many years. Dare I say, one of my best friends throughout the years to this day. He's about a year or two older than me. But this family, though, just to give you guys an example of this family, just so you guys know, when Robert's talking about his dad, and may he rest in peace. Yep. When he's talking about his dad who came here and struggled to get here and built what he built while he was here, he has Robert, who has been in the military, right? And we'll talk about you being Marines,
yeah,
right? National Guard. Well, you know, I mean, he's done a lot of stuff, right? Law enforcement, right? His younger brother Alex has also been in the Army. He was active infantry in Afghanistan, right?
Yep.
Your younger brother Memo,
exactly,
is also National Guard as well.
Yep.
So like, this is a family that came here from nothing and have all been extremely successful and gave back to this country and are doing their civic duties. And a lot of people don't do that these days. So I just want to say hats off to you guys and tell you that I respect you. I love these guys. Obviously, they're my friends. They're my homies. You know, they're like family to me. But hats off to people that give back, because a lot of people don't. Everyone can sit on their ass and talk shit about how, you know, cops are horrible and the military is horrible and America sucks and X, Y, or Z, but nobody gets out their ass and goes and does something, and your family has. So, and it's not just your generation. I think you have uncles and stuff too as well,
my
right?
grandfather fought in World War II. I had uncles in the military. Growing up, I didn't get to watch Sesame Street. I was watching The Dirty Dozen, Guns of Navarone, and those
Hamburger Hill,
Sands of Iwo Jima. Yeah, I mean, and then I remember being in 6th grade. My uncle took me to the movies, and we watched Full Metal Jacket. Oh, and I saw that movie, and I was like, I want to do that. And so I remember my grandfather telling me, like, you know, when I was a little kid, he says, you know, if you want to sleep in the mud, you join the Marine Corps. If you want to sleep in a bed with clean sheets and eat hot meals and have a good time, you join the Navy. So when I saw Full Metal Jacket, I said, I want to do that. And it goes back to when Alex was joining, or we'll call him Dirt.
Tierra, by the way, there's
Dirt.
a whole story behind it. We call him Tierra for a reason.
Yeah,
Dirt.
So
he's gonna get mad at us. Yeah. For love you, Dirt.
But everybody knows Dirt.
Everyone that hung out with us and grew up with us knows him as Dirt. Yeah, so Dirt, we love you.
So when Dirt was gonna join the military, I was talking to his recruiters because I didn't want to him to make the same mistakes that I did in terms of, you know, not knowing the system and you know, not being able to take advantage of everything you could from the military. And so, you know, I'd go and with him and talk to the recruiters. And then one of the recruiters asked me, hey, how come all you Mexicans joined the Marine Corps? And I didn't have an answer for him at the moment, but then I pondered on the question, and I was like, and then I figured it out. The Marine Corps recruiters had a different approach than the Army recruiters. Army recruiters came at you and they said, hey, we're going to give you this $20,000 bonus if you join the military. And, you know, we got all this good stuff that we can give you and this and that. The Marine Corps came at you and said, hey, this is what we do. You think you're man enough to do it?
Hey, the machismo
came in and said, you know what? Hell yeah, I'm man enough. You know, I'm going to do this. And that's how they came at you. And so that's why you have a big Latino presence in the Marine Corps. You have a big Latino presence in the Marine Corps, in all the militaries, and I think it's understated, right. You know, and I think it should be. You know, I think there's been throughout history many heroes, and I'll call them heroes because that's what they were, and continue to be.
Right.
Like I think of, I heard this story when I was a kid, and I remember my uncle told me, my uncle Nacho, who was in the Navy, and he was in Vietnam. He told me the story about Tango Mike Mike, right? And Tango Mike Mike is the military phonetic alphabet. So Tango means T, yep. And then Mike Mike means double M, and that meant for the mean Mexican. And his name was Roy Benavides, Medal of Honor winner.
Oh, dude, I know
and
that
so
guy
I often post his story.
He's a bad motherfucker,
yes,
dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he was an orphan.
Yeah.
And he decided that he wanted to change his life, and he joined the Texas National Guard, and then from there he went active duty, and then he went into the Army, and he was an infantry soldier, and then he found out that he can make extra money by jumping out of airplanes, and he joined the airborne, and the next thing you know, he's special forces. Yep. And then he's special forces. He steps on a landmine. He's almost gonna, they told him he'll never walk again, and the guy walks again. Yeah. Not only does he walk again, but he goes back and earns his wings back to jump off of airplanes.
He's a very decorated soldier. His
my
story,
God, yeah,
if you want to hear a story of somebody who can inspire the fuck out of you as a human,
yes, absolutely.
His story is very inspirational, especially if you're a Mexican, man. Because all these people out there, like people don't really realize how much Mexicanos, even Chicanos, Native Americans have put into the military in this country.
Absolutely.
They have no idea. In World War II alone.
Yeah, World War II, there's
so many of them. My family
yeah.
fucking fought in World War II. You know what I mean? Like,
and there's in World War II, the other day I was sending these videos on YouTube. I was sending them to my brothers, and telling them like, hey, check these out. And they're just these amazing stories.
Wait, hold on. See, putos, you guys are seeing each other's memes? This guy's saying his brother's fucking active combat videos.
Yeah. But we send each other the memes too, and then the other stuff that's probably inappropriate.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Gotta crack a joke here and there.
Yeah, exactly. And then so I was sending them videos, and like, for instance, there's a guy Gabaldon. His name is Guy Gabaldon. He's from Los Angeles. He fought in World War II. He was a Marine. He was too short. They weren't going to accept him in the Marine Corps because he was too short. But he happened to grow up next to a Japanese family in
they're
LA.
short too.
and he learned He learned a little bit of Japanese because he would go eat dinner at their house all the time. He said they'd invite him over for dinner all the time, and he came from a poor house with a lot of kids. So if you can get more food at this other house, well, hell yeah.
I know, yeah.
So he went in and he would eat, and he learned a little bit of Japanese, and then the Marine Corps wasn't going to take him, and he was hell bent on getting into the Marine Corps. And he said, hey, I know Japanese. And then they said, oh, you do? All right, come in. So they got him in. And he basically, in Saipan, he single-handedly got 800 Japanese troops to surrender.
That's crazy.
Just by speaking Japanese to them into they were hiding in a cave. And who knows how many Marines would have died taking that cave.
The Japanese were crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, so the Pacific Theater is one of the gnarliest war fronts that we've ever had, and no one ever talks about it.
Absolutely.
No one talks about it. Both from the Navy and on soil, the infantry on soil.
Yes.
If you people, and it blows my mind how many people in this country don't. I am like a history buff, so I'm really into history. I've always been into history, especially World War II history.
Yeah, World War II history is amazing.
It's insane. It's the last great generation.
Yeah.
And if you want to learn about it, watch Band of Brothers, for instance.
Yeah, Band of Brothers, the Pacific.
Midway, the Pacific.
The Pacific is another good series that covers that, and so it's a so to think of that, and he got the Navy Cross for it, and some people think he should get the Medal of Honor, but there was other things that he didn't meet to get the Medal of Honor, right, that they're saying that because you're supposed to be under fire and save other people. Like that's like one of the things that which Roy Benavides did.
Oh, that guy was an animal.
Yeah, he got shot and stabbed and his jaw broken. He had 37 wounds. Yeah, from bullets, shrapnel, and everything like that. And he still kept fighting. And then
what a story!
He went in and saved he saved the whole team, and he was able to get he still, and then they thought he was dead. Yeah, and they were gonna zip him up in the body bag, and he spit in the doctor's face.
He's like, "No, I'm still alive." It's like that guy's story is insane. I swear to God, I really implore everybody who's listening, if you don't know Roy Benavides' story, man, look into him. It's all over the internet. You can find it.
There's a book called 6 Hours in Hell. It's called it's 6 Hours in Hell, and it's his life story, and it's an amazing book.
Before there was Marcus Luttrell, there was Roy Benavides.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's the way I look at it. If you know who Marcus Luttrell was, there's a movie about him, books about him. But before there was him, there was Roy Benavides, and he was a Mexican, you guys, a Mexicano.
Yeah, he jumped out of a helicopter with a knife and a medical bag. That's all he had.
That's all he had.
Yeah, and so there was a helicopter above with the helicopter he was in, and the pilot that was flying that helicopter turns around and goes, "Man, that guy just got shot out of the plane," because nobody would have jumped into what he jumped into.
Right.
That's how badass he was. He jumped into like some crazy fire.
Right.
So that's why they thought he got shot out. You know, but no, he jumped out and he ran 75 yards, taking bullets and stuff like that. And he gathered everybody up and he reorganized everybody to be able to fight back and survive until they got picked up.
He's what I call, when I describe this to people, people often don't understand it because I don't know if they've been around this kind of man, but there are men and there are men amongst men.
Yes.
And you guys, seriously, Robert here next to me, he's a man amongst men. I'm not jerking him off by any means. He's a friend of mine, but he is one of those kind of guys. And I think men like that in today's society are extremely, extremely important because for whatever reason, we've gotten to a point in history and in society today where being a man, being quote unquote macho, being all these things is considered a bad thing.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that being macho is a bad thing. Being macho means you're being a man. You have male characteristics that are strong. And those kinds of things, sure. Is there toxic machos? Toxic, quote unquote toxic, for sure. There's guys that
we
are.
have
toxic.
a name for that. It's called assholes.
Yeah, exactly. Those guys are culeros.
Culeros and assholes.
Yeah.
And,
so, but being macho in a sense, when I grew up, you knew who the assholes were.
Yep.
And you knew who the men were. The guys who rode up on a horse. For instance, just to give an example, like a rancho, right?
Yeah. Who
drove on a horse and he was the fucking guy. Like, that guy's macho, but he's the man. But that man never disrespected women. He never did bad things that we would consider to be bad today. For whatever reason, we have this whole male toxicity thing going on. Blah, 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 sorry. But we have this ideal of anything male being bad. And I really don't believe that. I believe we have the lack of men being what men are supposed to be, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, definitely. I mean, for me, when I think of man, I think of the ultimate man. I think of my grandfather. You know, he grew up during the Great Depression. His father died at a young age. He was 7 years old when his father passed away, and he just grew up in harsh conditions. And then when the country needed him to go to war, he went to war. And then when he came back, he raised a family and he was a productive member of society. And he didn't have degrees. He graduated high school, but he didn't have like degrees. But he was super smart, like super smart. That guy could talk to you about anything. That guy could fix your car. He was a mechanic. He was a carpenter. He was whatever you needed him to do, he could do it. Right. And I remember him. He used to, for fun, he had a ranch, he had a farm in El Centro, California, and he would go there on the weekends. So he'd work all week long, and then for fun, he'd go work his farm in El Centro.
That was his way to get away. That was
his way to get away from it. And he'd have, and I remember he would take us sometimes, and I'd go with him, and we would sleep like in a shelter half made of plywood. and we would sleep outside, and I thought we were camping, but it wasn't camping. It was like him working. And that's just the type of guy he was. He was just a bad dude. I mean, he used to train boxing when he was younger. His cousin was a Golden Gloves boxer. And so he was like into that, and he used to train that. And then he, went off to World War II, and then he was a great father. He was a great man. He used to help people. I remember when I was a kid, I used to be his chicle. I used to be stuck to him all the time.
Dude, I've been called that to somebody before. Pinche chicle.
And so I was with him all the time. And so I got to, up until the age of 8, I had him with me. I was with him all the time. Every time that I could,
It's a testament to real men raising men.
Exactly. And so that, I kind of wish I would have had him more, right. But whatever, he passed away. And so that was it.
Well, he's gone, but he's carrying on through you,
definitely,
and through you, through your kids,
and through his grandchildren,
through his
grandchildren, and through his children and stuff like that. And so, and to that, I'll say, like, to raise, it takes a village.
Yeah.
It's not just your parents, it's everybody around. And I think back to, like, how I grew up, and it was, you had people that were around that were influential, and people that were, like, good people around you. I think of, like, we were talking earlier, your grandma.
Yeah.
Your grandma was Grandma a tough Rosie. Lady, man. She had us in line in that lunchroom. She was at our school too. Yeah, she was at our elementary school.
So for those you don't know, my grandma Rosie, man, rest in peace. I love her. I miss her, man, so much.
Great woman.
I really wish I had more time with her, but she was a teacher's assistant at our elementary school we went to.
Yes.
So a bunch of us grew up together on the east side of Santa Barbara. We went to Franklin Elementary,
and she had us in line, and she had us picking up after ourselves, and she had us in line. Recess, she made sure that we were acting good.
She was the epitome of a strong ass woman.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean.
She was strong, and we knew it, and we respected her, and she was strong, but she was you knew it came from a good place. Yes. You know what I mean. It wasn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
And so I was lucky. I grew up with, I had great teachers, like, Mrs. Phillips.
Wow. She's by far, oh man, you're gonna break my heart right now. She had more influence on me than any other person in this world.
Absolutely. And right now that you said that.
Fuck, dude. It hits me deep in the soul, bro. Miss Phillips oh man, god damn it. I don't know if she's still alive or not.
She passed away.
Oh, fuck, god damn it.
She's a great lady who was a lot of our teachers. She had all my brothers and sisters. And then
she was amazing, bro.
Yeah, amazing teacher at Franklin.
I'm over here crying on that fucking podcast. So Miss Phillips, she was my grandma's really good friend, and she was my 5th and 6th grade teacher.
Mine
and
too.
She was huge, and she was a hippie.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're crying too, asshole. I'm not crying. You're crying. See, you guys, this is what a woman can do to a man.
Yeah. Well, this is.
But she was amazing.
Amazing. Great teacher. And the thing is that she wasn't the only one. There was a lot of them at Franklin School at that time. Dude. There was, Miss Miller, Miss Jonke, Mr. Lib, Mr. and Mrs. Benson. They were
all great teachers.
All great teachers that were there. Miss Rude. Miss Wright, remember Miss Wright? Yeah. She was like
my first grade teacher. Miss, are you kidding me, man? She passed away not long ago either, too.
She was. Want to talk about a strong woman?
She had me singing "All I Want for Christmas Is My 2 Front Teeth," and I had no 2 front teeth on the stage for the whole school.
Yeah, and it's crazy because I was lucky. I had all those people coming. I went to Roosevelt first. And I didn't feel right. I didn't like it. I wanted to go to Franklin so bad, and because all my cousins went to Franklin. And so I wanted to go to Franklin so bad, and then finally, like, I remember when I was at Roosevelt, they put me in ESL, and it was first grade. Yeah, I know. They saw Gutierrez, and they're like, "Hey, you're going to put that guy in ESL.
Learn English, puto."
And then so I went into ESL, even though English was my primary language, and my mom was pretty upset that I didn't know how to read, and it was already first grade. And then I went to 2nd grade to Franklin, and I was in Miss Guma's class, and I went from not knowing how to read to the highest reading group in 1 year. And it was, so then after that, my mom said, no more ESL, like, I'll teach them Spanish at home.
Right.
And so my mom would force us to speak Spanish at home. Like, if we asked, "Hey, Mom, can I go to the movies?" And then she would ignore us. And then we would say, "Mamá, ¿puedo ir al cine?" And then she'd be like, "Oh, okay, ¿con quién vas?" And this, but then we would have to speak to her in Spanish. So a lot of the Spanish that I learned was from my mother, or was because my mother forced us. My dad, we could talk to him in English, and he would respond to us in Spanish. But my mom was the one probably who forced us.
Forced you guys to learn.
Yeah, and she was born here. She was born in San Diego, so like it was kind of funny that my mom was the one who obligated us to speak Spanish, and that wasn't my dad. My dad, who was born in Jalisco,
Yeah.
And so it's
I have a similar story, man. So it's the opposite. My dad was born in Jalisco too, in Totutlan, Jalisco, which is by Guadalajara, and he came here as a young guy, but my dad was very privileged. My family was very privileged, man. My grandfather was one of the first one to have like camioneta in his area. You know, like one of the first one to have a truck in his area. My dad grew up by means, but then my grandfather got into some trouble. I have a crazy story, man, and I want to get my tias on here to talk about it. My great grandfather. There's a whole story about him killing somebody, and there's a whole kinds of crazy shit. There's like a corrido written about him. There's a whole bunch of crazy shit. I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't know the full facts. I would love to have my tia and other people on here to talk about it. But his son, my grandfather, my Tito Ramon, he came from means and stuff. And from what I understand is that when my dad and stuff was born, my dad was the baby. He has 2 older sisters, and they were pretty doing really well in Mexico. You know what I mean? And then my grandfather got in trouble. I don't know the full story. I think it's something to do with embezzlement or not paying taxes or something like that. But he ended up going to jail for a little while, and they lost everything. So they went from being very privileged to having nothing. And when they came to the States, they had nothing. My grandma literally would have to beg for like food to feed them and stuff to get them across. It's a crazy story, man.
Yeah, my dad's family was super poor.
Yeah.
I mean, he was one of like, I don't know if it was like 14 or 15 kids, and he was like in the middle.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, we're talking.
Had so many kids back then, dude.
I know, man.
Jesus Christ.
I think of my poor grandmother, like, you know, she spent most of her life pregnant, you know.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's crazy.
And so.
At least she can never get pregnant again.
She was an amazing woman, too, in herself. You know, every time I'd go over there, she'd freaking, like, take care of us so good. And it was just amazing. And then my aunts, too, they were amazing.
How do they do that? I have one kid, and I'm, like, losing my mind, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And they have 12. I'm like, how the fuck did you do that?
You know?
I assume at some point the kids take care of the kids. I don't know, dude. At some point, you just you put on blinders, and you're like, you put earmuffs, you're like, I don't know, I'm not hearing them fight. Yeah. I don't know how they did it, man.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
My dad's family was like, we're talking like no.
Hey, fuck you made me cry, man.
No shoes.
Why you gotta bring up fucking Miss Phillips, you asshole?
Yeah, Miss Phillips, I mean, it's worth it. I mean, I think of influential people, and I think of how lucky going through this education system in Santa Barbara, the path that I had.
Yeah.
Because I easily could have, gone the wrong way. Yeah.
All of us, right? Yeah, exactly. Every one of us. So she influenced me more, other than my parents, my mom, my family, good friends that didn't let me go down the path too deep. Mm-hmm. She probably influenced me more than anybody. You know what I mean? She was about loving whales and recycling and loving wildlife.
She was a 49ers fan.
She was a 49ers fan. And she, like I said, she was my grandma who was a good friend. They're really good friends, you know? So, what's funny about that story about Franklin, the school we went to, is that I had gotten in trouble so many times and suspended so many times from like literally kindergarten to 6th grade. If it wasn't for my grandma, I probably would have been expelled.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember Dr. Garza?
Yeah, Dr. Garza.
He was the president.
Yeah,
he was a principal.
And he's another guy.
Exactly.
He was another influential person.
Yes.
There was a great, here you have a situation where you have a Latino who's the guy in charge of your school, which was a good example. And then,
but he was hard though. He was like a conservative, hard dude. He's like, I don't give a shit.
Exactly.
Remember, he would tell me, you're fucking lucky your grandmother works here. He would tell me, and my grandma would be like, again, Javier? And I'm like, yes, again, grandma. Come on, asshole. Like, come on. Like,
that's funny because your brother was the opposite.
My brother was on straight edge guy, you know what I mean? And I was always in trouble, dude. Always in trouble, dude.
And Dr. Garza was another example of I clearly remember, and I was in fifth. I think I don't know if it was 4th or 5th grade. He picked some students to go see the Santa Barbara Symphony. They had like so many seats that were going to go, and I was one of them. And I don't know how I got chosen, but I remember like I wrote it in his wife now, but it was his girlfriend then. I wrote in her Mercedes, and I was all excited because the first time I got to.
He's still around?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
yes,
cool.
He's still around. So he did it. He retired as a principal, and then he went on as I think he worked for Cal Lutheran in their education department. And so he was teaching teachers for another 20 years, and then my band played at his retirement party.
How badass is that?
It was.
We
awesome.
gotta talk about your band, bro.
Yeah.
By the way, this guy is fucking military law enforcement, and he does a fucking band with conga drums. This guy literally is like, he's a Renaissance man.
My mom tells me que a todo le tiras y nada le pegas. You know, like I aim, I shoot at everything and I hit nothing. You know, and it's just a part of the experience. You know, it's part of trying different things and you know, and sure, I would love to have been, you know, focused on one thing and go after it, you know, wholeheartedly, you know, but you know, things, it is what it is, you know, and I, you know, I was, you know, like I told you before, I was even a radio DJ at one point.
Yeah,
I used to have a radio show.
Radio Tiro.
It was Radio Revolucion, actually. It was political commentary and salsa, you know, and that's where I fell in love with salsa, and that's when I decided to learn how to play congas, was because of that, you know, my friend Dan. Shout out to Dan Umania.
Was he the bouncer, Dan?
Yes.
Okay, I remember him. That fool used to let me in the club when I was like 15.
so we worked together as bouncers at a nightclub in Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
And
I was like 15. You fools used to let me in.
And so I didn't let you in. That was illegal.
Whatever.
It wasn't me.
He lying.
All right. So what's it called? So he asked me one day, hey, you want to do this? We're gonna cover for Rock en Español show, and so he didn't have any music, and I had a couple, you know, some pretty extensive Rock en Español CD collection. Yeah, so and that's the thing, and so like, and that's the you know, not to go off on a tangent, but that's the beauty of being us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That we get to enjoy all kinds of different things. You know? We get to enjoy rock en español, we get to enjoy corridos, we get to enjoy Vicente Fernandez, and at the same time we could turn over to Frank Sinatra and enjoy that. We can enjoy some Metallica,
fucking reggae,
you know,
metal,
some Rage Against the Machine, whatever, you know what I mean? It's and so it's like it's so awesome to be able
some
to,
rage,
and it's just awesome to be able to you know, to be able to understand all that, and then get the feeling of the songs and then of the words, and that it's a great thing, you know. And that's, you know, going back to, you know, being raised, you know, biculturally, I'll call it, you know what I mean? I won't call it biracially, because I don't think it's biracially, it's biculturally.
I would say we're the problem about, not the problem, but the tough thing about growing up like we did is we're considered quote unquote pochos, right? We're the pochos, right? So like, we're not accepted in Mexico. Like in Mexico, we're like, hey, pinches pochos culeros, exactly. La verga, you know what I mean? And then here we're like, wow, fucking Mexicans, fucking
damn beaners, you know,
fucking beaners.
And so it's fine. It's you know, but I'm lucky.
Right.
I'm lucky. I'm not. I don't consider that like a bad thing. I don't consider that. Remember Ross Castro?
Yeah.
So Ross Castro had a quote in the Independent, which is that Santa Barbara newspaper they have there, and there was a quote, and I remember a lot of guys cut it out and posted it in their locker in the football room, and it says, every morning I wake up and I thank God that I was born a Mexican. Yeah, you know, and
Mexicano por fortuna.
Yeah, and so then it goes back to, like, you know, but at the same time, that's like I feel fortunate to have grown up with that, but at the same time I feel fortunate to be an American. You know what I mean? Like I'm an American 100%. That's, you know. And going back to I didn't always think that. Right. I always thought, you know, at one point I was, you know, anti the system and, you know, Chicano power and this and that, and this and that. So, and I was all about that, you know. And then one day, Coach Garcia, another influential person.
Nito Garcia, high school football.
Yeah. He was my football coach growing up. And by the way, football was the best thing that happened to me. Right. Football changed my life.
Oh, it's such a big thing for kids, man.
Yes, absolutely. Sports taught me, teamwork.
Lose, be humble,
to absolutely.
Win, all those things.
All those things.
How to work with other people.
Train, how to be, you know, look out for your partner, look out for your buddy, you know.
How to suck sometimes. It teaches you really how to, like, to deal with pain.
To deal with pain, yeah. Deal with adversity. And so, it's many life lessons.
We all have that in common, by the way.
Yes.
All of our friends that grew up together,
we all played.
We have football in common.
We all played football at Santa Barbara High School. Yeah. And we'd all, you know, from that freshman year, right before the San Marcos game.
Sucked. But I fucking got my ass beat every day, and I never gave up.
Yeah, you know? I never gave up. And so we'd all wait before the rival game. We get that corazón speech from Coach Garcia. And it was so awesome. And every year we look forward to that speech, the corazón speech. And to now people will say corazón, you know, like to make fun of it and stuff like that. Because it was so influential. And Coach Garcia is a great man. you know, and he's still around coaching.
He's
and
amazing.
doing stuff like that. Well, one time I was coaching with him, and I got to work with him, and Coach Robledo, may he rest in peace.
Rest in peace. That's my JV coach. Rest in peace,
another great man, Manuel Robledo. And so
that fool was dark, huh?
Yeah, he was.
He's purple.
El Indio.
That fool was purple.
We call him El Indio.
Rest in peace, Coach Robledo, man. He was a big influence on me too.
Yeah, I love that man. We were sitting there, those three of us, and then Coach Garcia asked me, so what are you, Robert? And I said, I'm Mexican. And then he goes, really? He goes, so do you pay taxes in Mexico? And I said, no. He said, do you have a Mexican driver's license? And I said, no. He said, so how are you Mexican? You're American. He said, where do you have your, you know? And then I said, well.
Sounds like Lito.
So he was making a point here. Right?
Yeah.
So then I said, well, you know, this was once Mexico. And then he goes, yeah, but it got lost in a war. You know, it got lost. And I said, well, I'm still fighting that war. So this little land that my feet occupy right now is Mexico. So if we want to talk about it, we'll talk about it. You know what I mean? And then he's all, you're saying exactly what people want you to say. You're separating yourself. He said, you really want to make people mad?
Yeah. Say
you're American. And I was just like, boom, mind blown. I was like, whoa, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right. He's like, you sit at their table. You know, you put yourself at the same level as them. So you really want to make people mad? That's what's going to make people mad.
Yeah.
You know? And so I kind of was like, wow. And so it was one of those like epiphanies you have in life. And then I started thinking like, wow, wait a minute. He's totally right. And we're talking about a man who was the #1 Spanish teacher at Santa Barbara High School.
Yes.
He was the man. And he was a Chicano or Latino, whatever you want to call him.
It was a Mexican
American,
yeah.
you know, whatever, growing up in Santa Barbara. And he went to school. He served in the military. He
influenced the lives of hundreds, if not thousands of young men.
Absolutely. Yeah. And he showed us what it was to be a respectful person. And he would, so to go and you're never above anybody else. Right. He would make everybody.
He respected work.
Absolutely. He would make everybody on Fridays. We wouldn't work out. We would go around the school picking up trash.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to have pride in where you come from. So go around and pick up trash. So we would go around with trash bags, picking up trash all over the school.
Society today is missing men like him.
So exactly. And so we were going around. So we weren't above that, you know. And he showed us that you have to you work hard and you take pride in what you what you're a part of. You take pride in your school and stuff like that. And so,
well, people don't know though. Let me just interject here for a second. Where we come from, Santa Barbara High School, the Santa Barbara High School Dons, to watch these guys go around and pick up trash was huge. Like football was everything, right?
Absolutely.
It was life. Like back then, it was fucking life. So to watch like the guys who are the badass fools on the field, like, you know, the stars of the
coming
field.
out in the newspaper, coming out on TV,
yeah,
you know?
And all that shit, to walking around being humbled by the coach, being, hey, nah, fool, you ain't nothing. You're gonna go pick up trash.
Yeah.
So what about Coach Coach Worker?
Yeah,
Worker.
Another guy.
That guy, another guy. So there was Phillips, right? Miss Phillips.
Yeah, Miss Phillips
and Worker. Those two people probably influenced me more in my life, more than anything in my life, other than my mom.
Yeah,
and people that were in my family that were steering me. Those two people. Worker was a fucking animal.
Coach Worker was awesome.
We call him Worker. I said War Wrecker because that's his real name.
Yeah.
His fucking last name is War Wrecker. You know what I mean? His fucking last name is War. That's literally his last name, War Wrecker. But we call him Coach Worker because he'd work the shit out of you, right?
Yeah, Coach Worker. He was amazing. He's an amazing man.
He's still around?
He's still around. He's still around. I see him.
Even if you look at the embodiment of strong, empowering, influential, inspiring men, you look at his kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
His sons were like knockoffs of who he was,
exactly.
But better versions.
Exactly.
You know?
Younger versions of him. And he's a great man, and he was a great teacher. He was a great mentor. He would teach us a lot of stuff about life. And so I think his influence, along with, everybody else's, influence in there too, kept a lot of guys from going down the wrong path.
Yeah.
He used to tell us, he's like, oh, you want to go with your homeboys? That's what you're going to do. You're going to stay home, because that's what people do, the homeboys. You just stay home. And so, and a lot of people some people accused him of being racist and stuff like that. But
he was never, dude. He not only made the best player on the team feel good, but he made the worst player, because I fucking sucked at football, dude.
Yeah.
I had 3 left feet. I was fat and I was fucking slow. Yeah. And he would be like, you know what he would tell me? He'd be like, Javi, we're gonna fucking do this play. Just to make me look good, we're gonna do this play, whatever. And I'm gonna have you trap this guy right now. You're gonna fucking hit. He's the biggest guy on the team. I remember Vince Hernandez, my fucking really good friend, one of my best friends. He goes, Javi, you're going to trap this fat piece of shit because he has a lot of fucking shit on him, but he doesn't have the work that you have. And he would tell me, trap his ass right now, fucking put him on the floor. And I would hit Vince so hard, he'd be like, you fat piece of shit, motherfucker. And you couldn't talk like that to kids today. You know,
no,
you can talk like that. And he would walk up to people, and his signature move was the whistle.
Yeah.
He'd bang you on the helmet with the whistle, and
make
bang.
your ears ring. Yeah.
He got in trouble for that.
And that's the thing, is like, you know, there's things that I remember once, like, some people see that as abuse, you know what I mean? But it didn't come from that.
They were making men.
They were making men. Yeah. And so they were teaching you things. And I'm not for abusing kids at all. Like, I'm against that. Yeah. 100%. 100%. But if there's a way to emphasize a situation where you're going to go into a game, you know what I mean? And I at one point, as a coach, because I coached at Santa Barbara High School for 7 years, as a coach, I had to. They kind of told me, like, "Hey, Robert, you need to calm down, you know, because you're a little too fired up." But this is after having been through the Marine Corps boot camp and stuff like that. Right. So I was doing the drill instructor style, you know. And so they said, you need to calm down. And I said,
drop it, give me 10, puto.
I said, no, I didn't say it like that, but you know, the place I was coming from was I wanted to prepare them for what they were going to go through,
right?
You know, and I had gone through it. I had been there. You play on the offensive line and you play on the defensive line. The guys across from you are talking shit about your mom. Oh, yeah. And saying this and that and da-da-da.
Before you got there, your coach worker would be like, we're going to go to this school and you're going to travel the entire way there with your fucking equipment on and your helmet on.
Yeah, exactly. Ready for business.
Ready for business. See, that was what he would tell us. So when we would go to play another school, he would say, hey, your pads, your entire get up, including your fucking helmet and your mouthpiece and your fucking mouth. Yep. The entire way until you get to that school.
No, nothing.
Yes, it could be 30, 45 minutes away. You're going there suited up, ready to go to business.
Exactly.
And if you win, you can come back and you party. If not, you're wearing your shit on the way home.
Yeah, you lose, you wear your helmet on the way home.
Can you imagine that shit?
Yeah.
Can you imagine doing that today?
So the thing was, like, for us, it was lucky we never lost my freshman year.
Hey, fuck off, because we got to talk about that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna cry again.
Yeah, it was we didn't lose at all, and then
fuck off.
And then the last game we won 72-0, and so we were excited, and we came home even though they threw rocks and bricks at our bus on the way out.
Do you remember how we lost that? Do you remember that?
You were the first ones to lose for Worker?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's pretty sad.
Here's a crazy story. So my Uncle John is another man I really, really respect. So I grew up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My coach, my football coach.
Yeah.
Right there.
I grew up with men in my life who sucked, but I grew up with men in my life who were amazing, and he's one of them.
Absolutely.
And so he, in 1989, I think.
Yeah, 89.
They won the CIF championship. And I remember being a kid, I was in the 6th grade, and we used to play football while they were playing on the field. Us young kids, the next group of dons were coming up, would be playing with Nerf footballs and footballs on the side of the field while the game was going on. Yep. That's what we did. That's what the families did in that area, right?
Yeah.
And I believe it was his team was the first one to go through undefeated, all the way through you guys, right?
Freshman, yes.
So there was something like, I don't know, was it 8 or 9 years of undefeatedness?
Yes.
I think it was almost 10.
Almost 10.
I think we were the 10th.
Yeah.
And so
this is a Coach Worker's freshman football team.
Coach Worker, man. And I'm going to tell you more about Coach Worker, because I'm going to give you some more insight of the shit he taught me that I'll never forget. So Coach Worker, he had coached almost 10 years of undefeated football, freshman football from our school.
And he was hated because he would keep the starters in.
Yes, he kept
all the way, you know.
Yeah, iron football. He called it iron football. We're playing iron football, you know what I mean? And so what was crazy is we get to like our 8th or 9th game of the season. I think it was the 8th or 9th game, and we played Rio Mesa. And we just, dude, they had guys on the team though, but they cheated, bro. I remember I hit this fool with everything I had, and he just walked over me like I was a baby. And I remember looking at his face, and he had a full-blown beard. I'm like, how are you 13 with a full-blown beard, bro? I'm not talking like a beard. I'm talking like a manly beard. Like this fool was a lumberjack. I'm like, and then I found out that was, what was his name? God, it'll come back to me. But anyways, he ended up in the NFL, that guy. But that guy also was like fucking 17 when he was a freshman. Like they found ways to be super shady.
Yeah.
But so anyways, long story short is I think our 8th or 9th game, we were going undefeated for the season, and Rio Mesa fucking hit us up and we lost. And I remember the entire team, because all of us had older brothers. I had uncles, I had brothers, I had friends, I had homies that were older than me that carried that torch of being undefeated. Mm-hmm. And I remember we all cried like fucking babies. We didn't cry in front of you guys.
No.
We sat there while Coach Worker was chewing us out, and he didn't say he didn't say go out and be sad or whatever. Yeah. He fucking chewed us out. You motherfuckers! And I remember we walked back to the fucking. We looked at everyone, and I remember all of us our souls were fucking hurt. You know?
Yeah.
We went back to the locker room, and boy, it was a fucking.
Well,
we were sad, bro.
Yeah.
We were
example
of
what a perfectionist that Coach Worker was. Adrian, our friend Adrian Hernandez, he was playing. He had gotten hit by a car earlier our freshman year, and he came back for the last game, and so he goes in at fullback. He runs the wrong hole. But he still runs 80 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay. Running the wrong hole. Coach Worker's like, God damn it, Adrian. What the hell are you doing? And we're like, Coach, he scored a touchdown. He's like, I don't give a damn. He ran the wrong hole. He's like, he was so mad that he ran the wrong hole, but he still scored a touchdown. That's just the type of guy he was. He required that of us.
Worker, Lito, Robledo, they raised men. Worker, I had a very cool relationship with him. It's because he knew that like he's like, this fucking kid's never gonna be a football player. You know what I mean? But he respected me though, you know? He respected me big time. And he says, Javi, he goes, I want you to be my sports lit, because back then you had, in order to coach, you had to at least teach one class.
Yes.
And he had sports literature. And sports literature literally he would kick his feet up on the desk and he would play a movie.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Like a sports movie.
So he says, Javi, what are you gonna do your senior year? I said, I don't know. He goes, do you need electives still? I said, yeah, I need 2. He goes, just be my sports lit fucking assistant. I said, oh, cool. So I would go to his class, dude, and the entire time he would put a movie on, kick his feet up, and just talk to me. He just wanted to fucking talk about the rule.
Yeah.
And the one piece of advice he told me that to this day I still want to do, he says, Javi, he always told me, he goes, you're smart, you're gonna get in a lot of trouble. He would tell me, he's like, you're smart, you're gonna get in a lot of trouble, but you'll be okay, is what he would tell me. He goes, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give you a piece of advice. And I said, what? He goes, what you need to do is do what I did. And I said, well, what the fuck did you do? Yeah. And he goes, there was a period of time in his life where he basically drove taxi cabs.
Yeah.
And he goes,
he did it all. Like he did so much stuff.
Yes. And he goes, you need to drive taxi cabs for like a year and just trip out on how fucking crazy people are. And I thought about it. And so then, you know what's crazy is back then, like the Taxi Cab Confessions from HBO, like the porno shit came on. And then I was like, he's not lying. Like this one knows what's up.
Yeah,
like,
he's probably experienced some crazy things in his life.
He goes, you will learn human beings when you drive a taxi cab for a year after hours, because you'll experience everything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I always entertain the idea of writing a book of my stories of working as a bouncer.
There you go.
You know, for 15 years I worked as a bouncer in different nightclubs and different places, and it's pretty crazy what happens after dark. I
don't want to go down that path.
Yeah, exactly.
There's too many stories.
So the title of the book is going to be, you know, The Freaks Come Out at Night.
And my friends
Memoirs
are assholes.
of a Bouncer.
And my friends are assholes.
Yeah, exactly.
So hey, let's talk about because one of the real reasons why I wanted to have you on is obviously, to me, you're like I said, you're a man amongst men, right? You're really about kind of helping out the next generation, right? So I look at you as sort of like a worker, Alito person in your own right. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I mean, I'm nowhere near those guys, and it's like I aspire to be, you know, and I try to help as many people as I can, you know, and sometimes, you know, sometimes it takes, sometimes it doesn't, you know what I mean? Yeah. It just depends on what it was. You know, I definitely believe that being a good example is probably like the most important thing. Like I think of my oldest cousin, my oldest cousin, Toto, yeah.
Of course, I knew you were coming with that.
He's my oldest male cousin, and I think I say this all the time. If he would have been a shithead, we all would have been shitheads. Right. All of us, Dirt, Gabriel, Memo, everybody.
Another man amongst men.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so this guy is he's such an awesome dude. He's you know, and you know, and he influenced us quite a bit, you know, and because of him, I got to experience, you know, things in life, you know, just start driving to Cabo, you know, I think about my first time driving to Cabo. I was 16 years old and he was 21, and it was just us two. And we drove 1,200 miles to San Jose del Cabo. And I think back and I think to my mom, like, what were you thinking? You know, like, how did you let me go? Too. And then she said, well, you're with him. You're with Toto. That's how they trusted him. And with you know, the good thing that, you know, it was all reason to trust him because he was just a great guy.
Shout out to Angelus Roofing.
Exactly. Angelus Roofing out there. And so having the influences that I had, you know, made it easier to do that. Not to like go down the wrong path. Did I make mistakes along the way? Absolutely.
But again, you know we all had good examples, though.
Yes,
they're good examples
to turn back to
of what a man was.
Exactly.
Of what a man was.
Exactly.
I had bad examples of what a man shouldn't be.
Yeah.
My dad is one of those.
Yeah.
To be frank, you know,
and you know, just to like, I don't want to badmouth my dad. My dad was a great dude. He was a great friend. He was like a funny guy. I mean, that guy could make you laugh, you know, and he was just a good dude. He was really generous, but he drank. Yeah, that was, you know, that's the reason why I don't drink. You know what I mean? You know, once in a while, yeah, but I don't drink because I saw what that did to him. Right. You know, he was a different person when he drank. Yeah. And so that definitely made it a bad situation. But on the other hand, I respect him for what he did with nothing. Right. You know, the fact that he came from like a second grade education and he was a business owner in Santa Barbara, California. Like, what the hell? Right. You know what I mean? Right. How is that? Insane. You know what I mean? And so, you know, he showed me that I had to, if I wanted something, I had to work for it, and no one's gonna give you anything in life. And so that's basically the main lesson that I got from my father was no one's gonna give you anything, you know. And so he didn't like directly say those words to me, but just how I got treated was that, like, if you want something, go get it. Right. You know, I wanted to play football. My mom didn't want me to play football. My mom would never let me, give me permission. So what did I do? I got a job. Right. I got a job at 14 years old. I was working at Casa Dorinda and as a busboy, and I made my little money, and I forged my parents' signature. And next thing you know, I was playing football. By the time they found out, it was too late. I was already in it. And so I did it. I did it on my own because that's what I wanted. Right. You know, like I think back of when I used to save my lunch money to be able to buy day passes to go to the gym, Santa Barbara Gym and Fitness Center.
Hey, that was the best gym ever, dude. Ever.
There's so many.
There's never been a better gym than that in my life.
Yeah, that gym right there. So many strong. Talk about another place where
I had my fucking 355 pounds at like 5 foot nothing with fucking like.
Yeah, there's so many strong guys. There, I mean, your brother used to go there.
Yeah, we all used to go there.
Yeah, and amazing. So and it's like so many strong guys came out of that place, and so many and that was like a big influence on me. You know, talk about having people around you that are influencing you. And like, you know, I remember
what was his name? Asian guy from the East Side, fullback, walked on to USC.
Oh, Kenji.
Dude, Kenji was like, I don't know what, like 5'8", 5'9", maybe.
Probably like 5'10".
5'10", okay, but probably like 250, 260.
Yeah,
he was as wide as he was tall.
Yep.
I remember, dude, Kenji was my homie, by the way. He was my big homie, right? He was another guy who let me in the clubs when I was 15. Yeah. Y'all motherfuckers are bad. So anyways, Kenji was a bouncer too. But I remember Kenji at Santa Barbara fucking Gym and Trust, dude. Gym and Trust, Santa Barbara fucking
Gym and Fitness.
Gym and Fitness. He would put, because he was trained to walk on the USC. Yeah. And he would put the fucking treadmill. So hard. He'd put the treadmill at 10, dude. And a guy that size, he would fucking run it for an hour straight. Yeah. And get off and not be breathing. Yep. He used to call me? Termite. Back then that was my nickname, Termite.
I remember you as Honda.
Remember as Honda? Honda. Yeah, I'm the man of a million names.
I go way
bro.
back.
Yeah, you go Honda. See, people don't. Okay, so let's touch on that a bit. People don't know that I'm the man of a million fucking nicknames. Honda's my nickname from when I was like 9 or 10 years old, maybe.
I think you're like a little bit younger than that.
A little bit younger than that, huh?
Because I was like in third grade.
Do you know why they call me that?
Because you were crying like it sounded like a whiny Honda. Yeah.
They said when I cried, I sound like a Honda.
Because your brother was like your brother would say Honda, like Honda this and Honda that, and I'm like, who the hell's Honda? He's like, oh, my little brother. We call him that because he cries like a little bitch. You know, I didn't say that, but I just like
I was like fucking 3 or 4, whatever the fuck you guys assholes. But I had so many fucking nicknames. You know what's crazy, man? I'll like if I go back to Santa Barbara and I walk through the neighborhood, I'll run into some random person and be like, Honda. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, you still remember that shit?
Yeah.
That's just one of literally like fucking tech nicknames. Kenji called me Termite for the longest time. To this day, if I run into him, what's up, Termite?
Yeah.
He's like, fool, because back then I was putting up like 350 around there, you know? And he'd be like, fool, you're little, but you're a termite, fool. You be biting shit, huh? I'm like, damn, fool. I wonder how he's doing, man. He's doing good. It's another guy that was a good man, dude.
He's a good dude, and he's also out there helping out and mentoring kids. And
is he really? We should get him on here, dude.
We'll get him on here too. He's out there still doing it, still being influential, and he's still strong. He's still always,
one of those guys like you. You're one of those guys too that like just always a good presence. You know what I mean? There's never a moment where I can think of anyone going like, "Oh, Kenji's a piece of shit" or "Robert's a piece of shit." So
I don't know. Maybe there might be some few out there.
Those guys are probably assholes.
Yeah, they're probably assholes. I'd like to think that, but yeah, he's a good dude. I mean, there's a lot of guys from back in the day that are still out there coaching and helping out, doing things out there, like my cousin Sambo. Shout out to my cousin Sambo.
Quaylar?
Yep.
Oh, of course. Come on, another fucking family. Come on.
Yeah. And
Gabe, Gabe. Goddamn you, Nugget. Gabe, you asshole. Nuggets was a fucking animal, dude. I remember so funny story about Nugget. When Nugget was a senior, so I was a freshman, another guy I looked up to.
Yeah.
And Nugget forever talks shit. That fucking asshole.
That guy, yeah.
He never shuts the fuck up.
But he would put up, he would, he wouldn't just talk. He wouldn't handle business too.
Remember when they played Notre Dame?
Yes.
So I was the ball boy because I was a freshman, right? Yes. So like, hey, Javi, fucking, it was me. I think my homie Luciano, and they were like, hey, we need 2 ball boys. And we're like, again, we're freshmen, right?
Yeah.
I'm cool as fuck. I have all the ladies ready in my life, but I'm not too cool to be a ball boy.
Nope.
I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna go run at the Notre Dame versus Santa Barbara Dons game. Like, I'm fucking doing it, right?
Yep.
I remember sitting on the sideline after I ran the ball back, and the next play came up, and I watched Gabe lay this guy out so hard. Gabe was a big kid, Yeah. Big kid. He laid this fucking kid out so hard. I remember he had his face painted all the way down to his cheeks. Mm-hmm. And I remember as a little, I was still a little kid. I mean, I'm maybe 12 at the time, Yeah. Maybe as a freshman, 12, 13. And I look at him, and Gabe's my homie. He's my homie, though. Like, we're like family. Our families are like families. And I watch him hit this guy so fucking hard. I look at him like he's a god. I'm like, that's a god.
Yeah.
Like, fucking, that's again, men teaching men how to be men. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I remember looking at like, holy
think back
shit,
to your
man.
Uncle John. I was a freshman when your Uncle John was a senior, and you had him, you had Pancho Renteria, you had the Molinas.
Oh, the Molinas, bro.
Molinas, like
Jesus Christ.
You want to talk about it, guys that
fucking giants?
Yeah, those guys. You want to talk about guys that shaped the way we thought. Martin Molina was like fucking.
What about DJ?
He was DJ too. DJ was a little more of a jokester.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
DJ I still talk to DJ.
Yeah, I still talk to DJ all the time too. In fact, we were talking yesterday and we were like laughing our ass off. It was DJ Kenji, Mark Unsueta, and
dude,
me.
We got to get on we got all these guys on a podcast.
Yeah, definitely, we'll get them on. So they just had me dying. And then Sambo was like, so then Mark tried to bring Sambo in. He's like, Sambo's awfully quiet, and then he goes. He says, I had to mute this because you fuckers were texting too much. His phone blowing up from all our we're going back and forth. It was funny. But Martin, I think your Uncle John and Martin, when they were coaching, they coached us my senior year, and it was like freaking awesome. It was so awesome to have those guys there, and they kind of, but it wasn't just then. It was prior to that. They showed us that, hey, you have to be in the weight room. You have to lift weights. You have to practice hard. You have to do all this other stuff. So we were able to, sure, we had great players. We did. We had Turlando Bolden. We had Khalid Hurst. Right. We had great players.
Peace, Khalid.
But the rest of us, we had maybe 1 or 2 big guys that
hard
were
workers.
over 6 foot. The rest of us were 5-something.
Well, you guys were all hard workers.
Yeah, and we were super strong, and for being, I think benching 350 and squatting 500 pounds, deadlifting 500 or squatting 450 pounds, deadlifting 500 pounds for a 17-year-old kid is not bad. You know what I mean?
It's insane.
And that's what we and to think that we didn't have proper guidance in that.
We had, what was it? Run lift. What was the fucking thing?
Bigger, faster, stronger.
Bigger, faster, stronger.
Yeah, bigger, faster, stronger was the program.
What? My Uncle John used to take me to the pit because Lito gave him the keys, right?
Yeah,
when I was 14 years old, man, he would take me in there. This is again, men raising men.
Yeah. And so your Uncle John would be in the weight room with us. Chris Sanchez, who was playing at UCLA at the time.
Sanchez,
he would come over, he would come back and during the summertime, and he would be in the gym with us working out, and he would be at his dad's. And so we had all these guys that were like,
we need more men raising men.
Exactly.
I was really blessed, man, to be quite frank. I didn't have the talent that you guys had. I was never gonna have it.
Yeah, no, I had no athletic ability whatsoever.
But I had men who fucking would still back me and say, "We're gonna do this. This is what we're gonna do." You know what I mean? My Uncle John took me because I was in a bad place at that point in my life. I was in a really bad place. I was in a lot of trouble. I was in a lot of dumb shit. And my Uncle John he was the man in my life who would correct me.
Yeah.
Whether it had to be grab me by the fucking neck and throw me against a wall.
He was the Rock before the Rock.
They called my Uncle John. By the way, my Uncle John's only 8 years older than me.
Yeah. He was,
but they called him the Rock.
That was back in high school. That was before
He's the original Rock. Fuck Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, that was before Dwayne Johnson. He was the Rock.
And you know what? To this day, I've never ever in my life, and I will never ever. I'm gonna say this, and I hope he hears it. I will never ever be able to live up to the things that I aspire to be, knowing him. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
like he was my dad in a sense.
Yeah.
You know. God damn it, this fucking podcast. Get out of here, Robert. God damn it. Twice in one night. So anyways, my Uncle John, he is one of those men amongst men. Not just in my family, but to a lot of people.
Exactly.
And to this day, I can walk in Santa Barbara and people are like, oh shit, that's John's nephew.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking 40 years old now, you know
exactly.
what I mean? And he was that dude. So I was really lucky and blessed to have those kind of things in my life. And that's why it's important to me when I'm on this podcast talking to people, it's really extremely important to me to understand that like today's society is really fucking weird.
Yeah.
The woke culture is weird.
It is.
It's an extremely weird thing. We don't have toxic masculinity. What we have is a lack of real men stepping up and being absolutely male. Like in other words,
I don't think that we have a lack of them. I just think that there's a society's perception of them has been tainted. And so I think they're still there. They're still there, but it's just not celebrated right now. It's not a thing. I think of
they're falling behind.
Yeah, and I think of at one point my son was at school and his PE teacher was talking and I had a kind of a sort of a discussion with a therapist about this. I said, one of the things that worried me was that the PE teacher was excited that when she said, oh yeah, since I've been teaching the kids dance, there's less horseplay going on. And I thought back to when I was a kid and I was at Franklin School playing at Field C. We have brutal football games.
Cowboys and Indians, skins and shirts.
Whatever. Like,
whatever,
right?
It
was bad. We would, there was broken collarbones, broken legs and stuff like that. And it wasn't malicious. It was just us playing.
It was boys being boys.
Boys being boys. And it wasn't boys being boys in the sense that we were bullying people. We weren't bullying people. In fact, the guys that were bullies would usually be outcast from us. And so, I was bullied all through elementary school, and I remember and even junior high. It wasn't until that's why I say football was the best thing that happened to me was because it stopped. As soon as I got to be able to, and mostly I got bullied because I was afraid to fight. Not because I was afraid of the person I was going to fight. I was afraid of my mother.
Right.
Because my mother was a freaking, she
whoop your ass.
She'd whoop my ass, to put it, not in an abusive way. Not at all. I don't want to go and badmouth saying that she was abusing me. No, she made me realize when I messed up.
Yeah.
And we got it done, and like earlier I was telling you, like, joking around, we had just watched the movie Colors and joking around. I only had 3 shirts, one of them being a polo shirt that had buttons on it, right? So I had a flannel type shirt on, and I buttoned the top 2 buttons, and I had it open, and I was like, and I said a line from the movie, and I can't remember which line it was, but my mom saw me, and she smacked the shit out of me, and then she went and cut all the top buttons off my shirts, even the polo shirt.
You're not gonna be a cholo.
She's like, you're not gonna do that. No way. That's it. You know what I mean? So boom, right away, I got the message. Really, really clear. And so that was never an option for me. You know what I mean? Because that's just the way it was. And so you have a clear message being sent out where it like, if you're going to be a man, you be a good man.
Right.
You don't, so I respected my mother. Like, I still respect my mother.
We have strong ass mamas, man.
And I respect her opinion. I respect everything that she's about and everything like that. And I love my mom to death. So I was afraid to fight because she was so against that. So luckily unfortunately I became a target after that because I didn't want to fight. So I would get picked on by a lot of people. And so it was rough. It was rough. I'm not, and then my parents had bought.
It's crazy. People, they're not seeing you right now because we're talking.
Yeah.
But if you guys saw him, you're like, what the fuck? This guy's as wide, as big as he is tall. He's got a fucking vein down his arm to his fucking wrist. Like, you'd think, like, how could this guy get picked on? But people get picked on.
Yeah. I got picked on bad. Like, I mean, there was times where I wouldn't want to go to school because I was getting picked on so bad. Right. And so, and I got picked on.
What changed that though? Was it fighting back?
It was, and I don't want to like promote violence or nothing like that. I'm not about that. But eventually you have to stand up and you have to figure it out.
Right.
You have to figure it out.
Your mom is not always going to be there for you.
Exactly.
So you have to stand up and be a man at some point in your life.
Exactly. And so, I couldn't go to my parents for that kind of stuff because they would ultimately turn it back on me. Yeah. Which was good. It's me having to take responsibility for my actions. Right. Like, what am I doing to get bullied? Right. I'm doing something that's making that happen to me. Right. So, and it taught me to walk away from a lot of stuff. It taught me to not, like, hey, is it really worth it? Me engaging in this? You know what I mean? Maybe I don't have to. So turn the other cheek type of thing. Did it last? Absolutely not. Because it got to the point where, hey, now I'm cornered. Right. And once you're cornered, it's a different story. Right. And so it's like you have all the, how you have those situations and you have to get through them. And so, so I got picked on a lot. And so that's why I say football saved my life, or just was the best thing that happened to me because it changed all that. Once that happened, boom, Right. And so, like, now my son, like, I try to teach, my kids in that situation, try to teach them how to deal with those situations because it's worse now. Like, at least crazy. before when you get picked on, you got picked on at school, you go home and that was it. Yeah, it was over.
That's crazy. You said I never thought about that. But you're right.
It was over, and so it was done. Like, you were safe at home,
at least for a few hours.
Yeah, but now that it follows you. Yeah. It follows you with social media, and it continues on and stuff like that, man. And so it sucks. It sucks. So I
and you can't do anything about it. At least if it's in your face and you're in the schoolyard or whatever. Exactly. And so it's probably fucking. Exactly. If you the human animal can at least react to something like that. Yeah. And so if you're at home and someone's fucking with you all night long.
Yeah. What can you do? And
I never thought about it like that, man.
And you think of, like, I saw a quote from Mike Tyson that says the internet's making everybody soft. He says because people can talk shit and not have to answer to it. Yeah, because back in the day, you could talk shit, you're gonna get punched in the face.
There's a meme that says something along the lines of, like, people got too accustomed to talking shit and I get hit in the mouth. Yeah, you know what I mean. And that's true, man.
It is, and it sucks. And so then now what happens is that because there isn't that before, and I think back to Dr. Garza being who he was, you'd have two kids get in a fight. Yeah. It wasn't the end of the world. They didn't call the cops.
He would sit you down. I got to sit down with my best friend in his office more than twice.
Yes. You sit down right there and he would make you guys hash it out, talk, boom, shake hands, force us to shake hands. Yeah. And a lot of those guys are my great friends now. A lot of those guys that were picking on me, and
same here.
We're great friends now.
Shout out to Robert Boynton.
I'm not gonna name out who my guys
names.
were.
No, I was in the first grade, bro. Come on, kindergarten. Come on. But what I'm saying is that, like, you're right though. But they made young boys start to act like men early on.
Figure it out.
So I think one of our biggest challenges we have today is that young men don't have the same. We're not having a like a crossing of the guard or a changing of times or a, like in other words, by the time you're 12 and then you're 15, like there's nothing really going on today between those 3 years that define or make you become a man.
Exactly. And so I've always, like, going back in time, there's always been a rite of passage. A rite of passage. Is what I'm looking for. Yeah, there's a rite of passage. Yeah. Whether it was the Spartans, they had the Agoge, and they'd send the kids
out in the fucking winter by themselves to figure it out.
For like 4 years.
Yeah.
4 or 5 years, they'd be out figuring it out by themselves.
Because we're babying kids.
Some pretty horrible shit would happen to them. You know what I mean? But they'd have to figure it out. And there's different cultures, like they have a rite of passage. Right. And that's like, there was a distinct line. And even in Latino culture, we have it for women. We have quinceañeras, where you have a quinceañera and you're considered a woman after your quinceañera. Do I think there's still little girls? Absolutely. I think there's still little girls.
Fuck yeah.
You know what I mean? When they're 15. But in that's kind of like what it was back then, because back then they were of marrying age.
We almost in North American times, I'll say Mexico and even here in America, like, we didn't need a rite of passage for young boys, but I think we need one now.
Yeah.
There was actually a really good documentary that came out on Lisa Ling. I've talked about it before in the podcast. And it was about a group of guys that are from up north, and they take a bunch of young, like, kids who either don't have fathers or they're misguided youth or they have a broken background, whatever it is. They're just basically young men who aren't young men yet. And they put them out in the woods. And here's the crazy thing though. They drive them out in the woods, right? All the parents or whatever, they drive them out. They have no idea what's going on, and they leave them off. And there's no phone, there's no whatever. And one of the kids, there was like 30 kids, right? And they're all young kids. And one of the kids fucking lost his mind, and he jumped back in the car. And the mom, because she's a single mom, didn't know what to do. So she said, "Hey, what do I do?" The guy says, "You know what you do? You leave. You have my car. You leave in my car and leave your car here." And he's going to learn really quickly that he has no Wi-Fi here. He has no internet. And he has no mama to hold him anymore.
Yep.
And no mama to tell him that, baby, it's okay that you're upset and you're angry. No, now it's time to grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
And they put them through this. It's a really good episode, you guys. I'll put the name out there, but it really touches on, and it's a bunch of guys who have the same background. So one of them was a counselor who was like in trouble his entire life. He had lost his parents really early on when he was young, so he acted out, that kind of stuff. But it's men teaching young men how to be men.
Yeah, and
how to cross over to that man phase.
So when I used to work at the continuation school,
talk about that.
It's called El Puente. I often would find myself sitting in the classroom and just looking out at the kids, and I'm thinking to myself, man, what's the common factor? Right. What is it that why? And
well, describe El Puente first, so people know what it is.
So it was definitely like a school for kids. Well, it changed. When I first started working there, there was a lot of gang members and a lot of some rough characters there. Like
it's a continuation school.
Yeah, it's a continuation school. And it was run by the county of Santa Barbara. And there were some kids that I'm like, man, this kid's pretty tough. Like, I wouldn't think twice about messing with them, or I kind of do what I can to keep him, because you just, but they were all respectful.
Right.
They were all respectful. And so we try to help them out and try to, but you can only do so much. And then they have bigger influences outside of school, and you only have, but you have them for the majority of the day. And so we'd be there. We try to help them out as much as we can. And then we got through to some of them. Some of them, like, I see them now, and I'm kind of like, wow, that's pretty cool to see.
Thank God to you, man.
At least to everybody that was working there, man.
Partially to you, though, is what I'm saying.
I mean, there's everybody that was working there worked their butts off. There's people that didn't like the school. They said that we're part of the system, that we're subjugating kids and stuff like that, but that wasn't the case.
But you saw it work, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that worked, and I saw kind of like was looking at all the kids, and I said, you know what? Most of these kids, and when it dawned on me was I went on vacation. The first year that I worked there, I didn't get to take any vacation. So all my vacation time was mounted up. And then the following year I got to transfer over to the following year. So I had like a month worth of vacation. So I went to Mexico for a month and I went to go study music in some Caribbean island that I went to study how to play congas. And when I got back, all the kids treated me like shit.
Dang.
And I was just like, fuck, what the hell? You know, these kids are fucking talking shit to me. Yeah. And then the principal told me, like, you're one of the only male stable figures in their life. And they wanted, you weren't there.
They don't want that. They need that.
Yeah. And so I was like, holy shit. It kind of dawned on me. Then I started looking around and I said, you know what? All of these kids don't have or have a shitty father figure.
Right.
They could have the best mom in the world and she's awesome and she's hardworking and she cares and she does all this stuff about them. But when the dad's not there, it's just not the same.
Right.
You know what I mean? Does it mean it's a definite doom? No. But it's a rougher road.
It's a way rougher road. We know that. We know that today in statistics around black families, for instance, we know that a large percentage of black families don't have a father in the household for whatever reason. Like, we don't know what that means, but we know that that's a thing. It's a statistic. You know, it's one that it's tough to talk about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's tough to talk about, but it's something that's real out there. We have to get our head around the fact that men matter, and when men really matter when it comes in families, and raising kids,
and they need to be a part of it, and they need to be involved in it. You know, could I be involved more in my family? Absolutely,
sure,
absolutely. You know, but it's in I think everybody can be. You know, and I
it's extremely important, man.
But at the same time, you know, fortunately, there's other people that step in and kind of replace that. Not replace it totally.
It takes a neighborhood to raise a kid.
It takes a village.
Takes a village. It takes a village.
It takes a village, and so, you know, like I think back to the Coach Garcias, to Miss Phillips,
all of them,
to Mr. Guillermo.
Weren't we blessed?
Yeah, Mr. Guillermo, the social studies teacher at the junior high.
Mr. Guillermo, my God, dude. I have a story about that fucking class too, bro. I forgot about him.
So I mean, all these great teachers, I was so fortunate to have them in my path all the way. You know, and I think back to like Mr. Guillermo, the influence, and I remember one day he would like joke around with us sometimes, and I remember like one time I said, you know what, joking around with him, I said, I'm gonna become a Marine, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna beat you up like that. But I said it as a joke. Like nowadays they're probably like, oh my God, this kid's a terrorist or whatever. No, but I said it as a joke. So when I went to the Marine Corps, the recruiter,
Wait, get him on high school or junior high?
Junior high. That was his brother, that high school history teacher.
Okay, his high school history. I the same story with his brother. I fucking talk shit to that piece of shit, dude. But he inspired me though.
Yeah, and so
I'll tell you. Yeah.
So when I got back from Marine Corps boot camp, the recruiter has you go to the high school, so that people that you went to school with, your former classmates could see you, like, oh man, and maybe think about joining the Marine Corps. That's what they would use, that tactic to get you in the Marine Corps, and so. I said, you know what, I'm going to stop by the junior high and visit Mr. Guillermo. And you know, I was in my dress blues, and I walked in and I went to the office and I said, hey, can I speak to Mr. Guillermo? I used to be a student. And then they're like, oh yeah, definitely. So they gave me a little, thing. Yeah. So I walked up and I knocked on the door, and then he's like, oh shoot, don't beat me up. And I was like, no, I just came to say hi. You know,
I didn't know they were brothers.
Yeah,
so funny story about his brother. Okay. So his brother taught Chicano studies in high school.
Okay. I thought that was Mr. Gonzalez.
Gonzalez, that piece of shit. Okay, so, yeah, you're right.
Mr. Guillermo taught U.S. history or American history.
Okay, so, but his brother in junior high, funny story about him. So when I was there, I was such a stupid kid, dude. I wasn't stupid. I was actually really smart, but I was just wild. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah.
So
wound up a little
too much. Yeah. And but again, it's because I was blessed by people that were smart who taught me shit, but I was on my own path. You know what I mean? At that time, So, but I remember me and my best friend Jacob at the time. We had just met, by the way. He just became best friends. Oh, did we just become best friends? You know? And so we would buy gummy bears. We'd go down to fucking what's the market? Another Taken Market. What was it called right there on the street right there, Millville Street? The little store right there.
Which one? Stop and Go or
not Stop and Go? On Millville Street by the junior high.
Oh, by the junior high.
That
was Crown Liquor?
Not Crown Liquor. It was their Take a Market or whatever. There's a little store right there. You could buy hairnets and all kinds of shit right there. Right there by Millville Street. Think of the tire place, Millville Street.
Yeah. Oh, Chapala Market?
Chapala Market.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Chapala Market. So we would walk there in the morning and we would buy a bunch of gummy bears. And gummy bears is my favorite fucking candy to this day. Right?
Yes, those are the death of me.
Yeah, so I would put it in my mouth and lick them, and I would throw them on the fucking roof and the ceiling. Bah, bah, and I threw like 20 of them up there. And this is good. Comes up to me, he goes, "Hey, are you okay?" And I said, "What do you mean okay?" He looks at me and my friend Jacob. He goes, "My best friend." He goes, "Are you guys okay?" We're like, "Yeah, we're fine." He goes, he looks up. He goes, "What's all that shit?" And I was like, "I don't know." And as I said, "I don't know." A fucking gummy fell off the wall, hit me in the head. Like, because we were just bored traviesos, you know what I mean? Like, we were just fucking, dude, we were such traviesos, bro. Like, we were so stupid, bro. Like, it was, oh my God. But yes, Mr. Gonzalez. So let's tell a story about that guy. So Gonzalez, he taught Chicano studies in high school, right? And I sat in the back of the bus with all the cool guys, right? Yeah. Remember Fermin?
Yeah.
Fermin was like one of my big homies too, you know what I mean? So Fermin was like 2 or 3 years older than me.
That's a blast from the past right there.
Yeah. He saw my Instagram. He always still talks shit. That fool, if you ever wanted a comedian in your life, that motherfucker's a comedian. He's a clown. He's a clown. So I would sit next to Fermin because he was my big homie. And I thought I was hanging out with the big homies in class, right? Mm-hmm. And it's Chicano studies. So what's up, puto? You know, like what's up? So I would sit back in the back of the class and I was always in trouble. And he would always tell me, "You got to stand outside for 15 minutes. Like, I'd have to go outside. I got kicked out of class all the time in high school. Like, literally, that was the other than Coach Worker, because Worker loved me. Yeah. Coach Worker would tell me, "Go fucking take off and have fun," or whatever. But all the other teachers would kick me out of class all the time because I was a clown. I was a payaso, you know? Mm. And so I was cracking jokes with him. He goes, "Hey, get out of here, whatever." And I said, "All right, I'm leaving." And he goes, "All right." He thought he was like standing delivery. Like, he that's the way he tried to teach, you know? Mm-hmm. That he was fucking dude Damien Phillips and standing delivery. He's like, he looked at me from the whole class. He goes, "You think you're funny, huh?" And I said, "Kinda." And he goes, "Get the fuck out of here," you know? So get the fuck out of here. And I said, "Look," I said, "Why are you mad, bro? I'm just fucking cracking jokes with my friend in the back of the class. I'm not bothering you. We're laughing in the corner. Yeah. We're not bothering anybody." He got so mad. In front of the class, he told me, he goes, "You know what? You're going to amount to nothing. You're going to break the rest of your homies in front of," remember Circle K and Taco Bell? Yeah. Okay, that was the east side where we grew up at. Yeah. And that's where the homies would hang out at lunchtime. Where would they hang out at?
Yep, right there. Stop and go.
Stop and go and Taco Bell, right? Bell, yeah. You're going to hang out with the rest of your homies. And 15 years from now, 20 years from now, I'm going to see your ass out there hanging out with the rest of your homies, and you're not going to be doing shit with your life. He goes, "You know what's sad? You're fucking smart." He did the whole stand and deliver thing. Yeah. "You're fucking smart and whatever, but you know what? You're too smart for your own fucking good, and you're going to end up there like a fucking loser one day." I looked at him and I said, "You know what? You're a piece of shit." I told him, "You're a piece of shit." I walked out of the class, and I never went back to that class. Mm-hmm. I think I didn't get credits for that semester or whatever. But like, I don't know, maybe like 10, 15 years later, I ran into him. And I was still an asshole.
What a dick.
Because I was making good money already, you know? But here's the thing. At that point in my life, I didn't understand what he was trying to do. Yeah. I was still a young 20-something-year-old. I was making very good money, living on my own. I was driving a luxury fucking car already. I didn't know. If I talked to him today, I probably would tell him, "Thank you." Yeah. You know? But at that moment in my life, 20 years ago, when I was in my early 20s, I remember walking up to him going, "You know what, you fucking asshole?" Because I was still angry at him. Yeah. Like, you fucking disrespected me. I remember going to him, "You disrespected me for the whole fucking class, you piece of shit. And guess what? I make 3 times the amount of money you make now, motherfucker, as a teacher." And I was talking shit to him. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure he probably was like, "It worked." Yeah. You know? Yeah. But to me, I was angry. Yeah. It's like, "You motherfucker." I was angry at him now. Looking back now, though, like, I'm like, no, he did his job. You know what I mean? Yep. But he upset the fuck out of me. I was mad for years. I mean, I was so mad that it was that many years later, I was still mad. You know what I mean? I was like, "You motherfucker." Like, "You piece of shit," you know? Yeah. But looking back now, he motivated me to.
Yeah, absolutely.
He motivated me in probably not the best way. Yeah. But he motivated me, you know what I mean? So on the subject of motivating young men, one thing I really like about you is I watched your Instagram stories, right? And I watch you with your kids and your nephews and your family lifting and pumping weights and kind of going camping and fishing and hunting and all these things that I think are like things that in society we forgot about that I think men should be doing with their kids.
Absolutely.
Especially young men, you know, not just young men, women too, of course, obviously. Yeah. But like,
I look at the things you do with your kids and your nephews, and I'm like, holy shit, man! Like, he is an example that they will forever look up to. You know, when you're gone, they'll be talking about you the way I'm talking about Mr. Gonzalez.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
For one of the things that I think that it's just not getting tired of doing it, because it can get exhausting. You know,
oh, for sure.
But like, you know, I ran into one of my former students, and she's a nurse now. She's a registered nurse. She's an RN, and
is she cute? Because I like nurses. Well, I'm just asking, bro.
She was my student, so.
Oh, okay. She's young.
She was.
She's legal.
And so she came up to me and she said, "Hi, Mr. Gutierrez." And she gave me a hug, and I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" and stuff. And I was so happy to see her like in this great situation. You know what I mean? And then she says, "You know what?" She's like, "I was such a bitch to you when I was a little girl. I'm so sorry." And then I said, "No, it's okay." She's like, "Yeah, I remember you used to bug the shit out of me. Every time I would cuss, you would tell me, stop cussing. And I would say that like 100 times a day. Right. I would say that, and I wouldn't get tired of saying it. You know, or I would get tired of saying it, but I would still say it because it needed to be said.
Persistence.
Yeah, persistence. And I remember like after my first day working there was September 7th, 2001, 4 days before the 9/11 attacks. Like that was the first day that I worked there. And so I was working there, and I remember like 3 months into it, I was like, the teacher that I worked with, he had a baby, so he was off. And now for a month now, I'm with the substitute. And when you're with the substitute in a regular classroom, it's bad. So imagine being in this classroom with the substitute. So it was up to me to maintain order in the class. So it was so exhausting that I contemplated quitting. I was like, this is dumb. What am I doing? Like, I'm not doing anything, you know, like I'm just beating my head against a brick wall. Like it's nothing. And then one morning I woke up and I was like dreading going to work. And then I started thinking about it. Like, you know what? Quit being a little bitch. You know what I mean? Like I'm not working at a regular school. I'm working at a continuation school. This is what I signed up for. So we're never going to have the good kid. You know, all our kids are going to have problems, and they're going to need help to get back on the right path. So I said, I took on this challenge by taking this job. So they're paying me to do this job, so I need to do it. So I changed my outlook on going into work, and after that, I just said, okay, I'm going to be drill instructor, robot style, by the numbers, and that's the way I did it. And so, you know, I just never got tired of doing that, and just constantly, you know, trying to influence them in the right path. I did that with my coaching at Santa Barbara High School. You know, there's guys that I see now, and I tell them, like, man, it was so good. I remember you being this timid little kid, and all of a sudden you're this, you know, this outgoing, you know, man, you know, this person, and I like to see that change,
right?
You know, and so it's cool to see that, and then you try to help people, you know, and so even people, you know, badmouth law enforcement nowadays, or whatever. But I don't know any people that go into law enforcement from a bad place.
Right.
The people that I know are...
We've talked about that, by the way. Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
the people that I know always go in because they want to help people, because they want to protect their community, because they want to help people, and for the most part, they try to. You know what I mean? For the most part, are they going to make mistakes? Yeah. You know, and do this. Sometimes is there a lapse in judgment? Yes. But it's a volatile situation that you're in. Right. And so, you know,
it's easy to be a fucking Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah, Monday morning quarterback is easy to do. Right. But when you're in the situation, it's a little, you know, you just hope that you get enough training, and you can rely on your training, and you can rely on everything you're doing to be successful in that situation. So that's what I try to teach, like my kids, my nephews, my nieces, you know, to be like a responsible, good human being. And it's not just me; it's my whole family. Everybody's like in on it, and that's
that's why I said your family. I don't know a family like yours at all. That everybody has done their civic duty.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But and it goes.
You
back,
guys should be proud of that.
And but the thing is, like, for us, it's kind of like a, you know, it's just what you're supposed to do.
Right.
It's not a
But
celebrated thing.
People
you know
don't think that way though. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
like if there's somebody in my life there's a family in my life who should be championed, that looked at, who's like an accelerated family and a family who's excelling in life, it's your family. You know what I mean? Like, people don't think of it like that. People today, they're happy in fucking buying their $1.50 fucking jumbo jack and their $2 fry and just living an easy life. But not very many people give back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I personally have given back in a lot of weird ways because I feel that it's my duty to. It's not my duty. I guess it's just part of who I am to give back.
Yeah.
But you guys civically is a different thing. You guys give back to this country.
Yeah.
Which
it's like it's my whole family. I have my if I think of all my older cousins, they've all been super like integral in playing an integral role that they play in the rest of us being good. My cousin Christina, she's an attorney for the county of Los Angeles.
I had a crush on her since I was 5. Sorry,
yeah, she's
thought don't gay, but I had a crush on her since I was 5.
Oh,
she never knew who the fuck I was.
She's an awesome influence. My cousin Sandra, she's a therapist, for LA Unified, and amazing person too. And her sister BB.
So where does that come from though?
So it just comes from it goes back to my
Christina married like a really powerful fucking
my grandmother, my grandfather. They were such a big influence on us being good people. Yeah. Like, my grandma had sayings for everybody. Like the biggest one that probably has stuck with me the most is, si vales un 5, júntate con alguien que valga un 10.
There you go. See, something has okay, but man.
Let me translate that. So if you're worth 5, if you're worth a nickel, hang out with someone that's worth a dime.
Exactly.
But it's not monetary.
No. But see, something as simple as a plan that is discussed at that level from kids, putting that in a kid's mind.
Yeah.
Which basically is telling, here's the thing, there's a million books out there today that tell you, hey, if you want to be successful, hang out with successful people.
Yeah.
That's what your grandma was saying.
Yeah.
It's very simplistic, but it's extremely important, and it's affected generations.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So, God, man, today's society is missing that. It's missing that. Yeah. Everybody is so egotistical about, like, what is it about me and me and me and me and me and me and me? But it's not about us. It's about what's next. Because at the end of the day, our life is finite. You know what I mean?
Yes. Absolutely.
And I think the most important thing you can do in your life, and I've reached this conclusion in many different ways, right? Through many different paths in my life. I'm a part of different groups and different things. Mm-hmm. But every group that I'm a part of that's really important to me, the most important message of that group is that, hey, you're going to die.
Yeah. And you're
going to die. What are you going to leave here when you're gone?
Exactly. And one of the things that I won't say it's a regret. I would say it's more of like it's a regret. One thing I regret is I kind of pissed away my 20s. You know what I mean? I could have worked more, and I could have worked more in my 20s. I could have done, don't get me wrong, I had a great time. And I think back to the stories of my friends, and which we won't discuss here.
We'll discuss them at some point in our life.
Yeah, some other time, but I think we have to get permission from everybody else. Make sure everybody else is on board with that stuff.
They're gonna get
nothing
really
bad, and I mean nothing illegal. That
not for you, puto.
Nothing bad. So, but it's kind of like I you don't think about your life being finite. Right. You don't think about it.
Right.
And you think, oh, I got all this time. But then next thing you know, you're 30. Next thing you know, you're 40. Yeah. And you're just like, whoa, So I have I have a buddy of mine that works with me, and he was asking me about the National Guard, and he's like, oh, this and that, and I said, you know what? Hey, how old are you? He said, I'm 26. And I said, okay, you're not married, you don't have kids, you don't have, whatever. Like, I go, if you're interested in it, do it. Join the National Guard. Like, you're going to go to basic training, regular Army, basic training. You're going to go to infantry school, this and that. Told them all this stuff. I said, you're going to get something from it that you can't put a price on. There's no monetary value on that, but you're going to get something out of it. And it's an experience that not everybody gets, but you're going to be glad you went through it. Does it suck? Absolutely. Are there times that I'm thinking to myself, what the hell did I do this for? Why, why did I do this? This is stupid. I'm suffering for nothing.
Right.
But at the end, I'm glad I did it.
Yep.
And so he went in and he joined, and now he's about to leave the basic training on Monday. And so he's excited, and I'm excited for him because he's about to have this experience. So I told him, I said, you have to do it because later on you're going to be 40 and you're going to be one of those guys that says, oh, I was going to do that, but that's like the worst.
Oh yeah.
Like that's
don't die
like,
with regrets, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Life is short.
And one of the things that was like another epiphany that I had was, I was watching YouTube, and I was just kind of like I was looking up gym videos, workout videos on YouTube, and this one video came on with Dexter Jackson, who's a bodybuilder. He's lifting, and in the background they have a motivational speaker talking, and he talks
David
about
Goggins shit.
Yeah, well, this is before David Goggins.
Yeah.
So this is and he says the ideal situation when you die is for you to have your family around you. But imagine, if you will, you're on your deathbed, and surrounding you are all the ideas, all the dreams, all the hopes that you had in your life. And they're looking at you with wide eyes, says, we came to you and only you could have given this life. Now we must die with you. So if you were to die today, what dreams?
You make me feel like shit, bro.
Right? So no, and
I got to do more.
So when I heard that, I was just like, holy shit, this is, oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't give up now.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the motivational speaker is Les Brown. And he's Les Brown is great stuff. He has a bunch of them, he has some great stuff on there. I downloaded some of his, he has his motivational speeches to music, and I'll run to that, or I'll work out to that.
Right.
David Goggins' book, his Can't Hurt Me book.
I fucking don't like David Goggins, though.
I know you don't like David Goggins. You already told me that, but I listened to his audiobook and I worked out to it, and it was so awesome.
Let me just say this shit about him, though. He is inspiring so many people to do a lot, which I do respect.
Yes.
I do respect. I think it's a little misguided.
Yeah, and
just because you can't not everyone's a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, not everybody's a Navy SEAL.
You can't go from a fat ass on a couch.
I know, but if you can go from being a couch potato to being someone that's healthy, walking around
in your own right,
exactly.
Yeah.
So to me, I think, and that's like the one of the biggest things, and I learned this while participating in powerlifting. I got into powerlifting, and one of my great friends, Bruce Mendoza, who's a trainer in Santa Barbara. If you guys need a good trainer, Bruce Mendoza is the guy to go. And he got me to be, he helped me get strong, and he helped me learn the sport of powerlifting through, he helped me, I learned it. And when I learned was that it wasn't, you go to a powerlifting competition, it wasn't like me against you, it was me against me.
Yes,
it's me against myself. 100%. It's me trying to put up more weight than I did.
Lifting is always that, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And when you look at it that way, and what I liked about it was, it wasn't like people are wishing you ill. They weren't wishing that you lose like you would at a football game. Like, I wish San Marcos loses every game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I still wish that. But
it's like karate. It's kind of you're against yourself.
And so you had people, even the guy that you're going up against is going, come on, let's go, get it up. And he wants to see you get a personal record, or he wants to see you lift as much as you can, just like you're going to wish him the same thing. And so when I saw that, I was like, man, this is freaking awesome. This is how life should be. This is how 100%. Everybody should be.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I learned that through the powerlifting, and it was fun. And eventually,
is Tank Mario? Do you do with Mario?
Yes,
or no? Tank?
Yes. And actually,
dude, his daughter and his kids are fucking powerlifting now.
Exactly.
They're crazy. His daughter is strong as fuck. His son is strong as fuck. I'm like, his son. Who's like in high school makes me feel like a bitch. Yeah, I'm like, holy shit, man, I gotta stop playing.
Yeah, he's so with funny stories that we
shout out to Mario Tanque.
Yeah, Tanque.
Another bouncer who let me in the club too early.
Yeah, and we used to work together, and we worked together for many years. I consider Tank my great friend.
He's a good guy, man.
And so the reason
I'm gonna tag him on this podcast.
The whole reason why we started doing it was for the alumni game.
Yeah.
11 years ago now. 11 years ago.
That's 11 years ago? The alumni game was that long ago?
11 years, 2010.
We're getting old, bro.
Yeah, I was, and so 11 years ago, we played that alumni game, and to get ready for it, I started like flipping tractor tires and pulling sleds and stuff like that. And then he says, "Hey, can I work out with you?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah, come on," And so we were like, lifting kegs up over our head, full kegs over our head and stuff like that we got from the bars that we work at and stuff like that.
I don't think people aren't going to see you on this podcast. We'll take pictures. But people don't know how big you are. They don't know how big Tank is. You're fucking... Shut the fuck up, dude. You're fucking as wide as you are tall. So is Stanke. Okay, wait. At your highest bench press max, what was it?
So...
And don't be bashful. What was your highest bench?
In competition, and I weighed... At the time, I weighed about almost 300 pounds. I did like almost 600 pounds.
See,
but that was with the shirt.
I bench pressed 355 at 5 foot nothing. I thought I was a badass.
That was with the bench shirt on. I was like in competition.
That's what the shit that goes on your arms. That kind of shit.
The bench shirt. Yeah. And so that kind of helps you a little bit, but it's not. It doesn't. You still have to train really hard.
It saves your joints.
It's basically what it does. It saves your joints, and if you learn if you get strong in like with the shirt, like you learn how to use it, you can get some push out of it.
Hold on, did you guys hear him? He bench pressed 600 fucking pounds.
So,
this guy's telling you he's not that big.
I'm not. Compared to the people that I was like hanging out with, like,
well, no. But I mean, come on, but you're 40 something years old. He's sitting next to me. He's got fucking veins bulging out of his arms. I don't got that shit on my nalgas. This one's got it on his arms, dude. Come on.
So I mean, it's and then Tank started going, like, he's like, "Hey, where do you work out?" And I told him, "Hey, I'm working out at Fisher Strength and Health." And so Fisher Strength and Health is a gym that's in Santa Barbara still to this day. That
it reminds me of Santa Barbara Gym and Fitness.
So Kevin Fisher, Dr. Kevin Fisher, used to work out at Santa Barbara Gym and Fitness. Okay. And those were all the guys that you would hear powerlifting and doing all the heavy weights over there. He was one of them.
It reminds me of that place.
And so Kevin Fisher was now has a gym, and it's kind of like, it's not Santa Barbara Gym Fitness Center, but it's pretty close.
It's close.
It's close, and there's a lot of strong guys that go there, and so it's Dr. Kevin Fisher is an amazing guy too, a wealth of knowledge when it comes to powerlifting. He was an inspiration for me. He was already like I think he was either late 50s or early 60s, and he went to Europe, and he pulled and he did a deadlift of like 700 pounds. So he's lifting up like 700 pounds off the floor at 60 years old.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So
it's fucking insane.
He's super strong guy, and he's not a heavy guy. He was probably like maybe 240, 230.
And pulling 700 off the ground.
Yeah. So, I mean, and and then
I feel like a bitch. See, this is why I don't fucking listen to stupid ass David Goggins, because I feel like a fucking bitch. Stay hard, motherfuckers. Stay hard, motherfuckers. That's what David Goggins says all the time. Stay hard, motherfuckers.
He says it, and
but let's be fair though. Not everyone can do this.
Not everybody can do it.
So
the thing is, this is the beauty of it. But like the way Bruce.
And I was strong at one time, fucking Robert. You know that.
Yes, you were. Yes,
I was fucking. They call me termite for no reason. I was a fucking animal.
So Bruce,
Fuck. Now I'm gonna start getting fucking bitching again. God damn you! All right, this will never come on the podcast again because I gotta work out again.
Gotta get back on it, bro.
God damn it! Son of a bitch.
So Bruce has like, he showed us on how to train smart, but still get the maximum out of you. Yeah. And a lot of times he would piss us off because we'd go, we'd miss a lift, and he'd go, "I guess you're not strong enough," and he'd put his arms up like that. So then we were like, "Fucking," that would piss us off so much. And then we'd try harder the next time. So we made T-shirts with him, a picture of him going like, with his arms out, going, "I guess you're not strong
another
enough."
Man raising men, even older men.
Yes.
He's still another example of a man raising men.
Exactly. And so he's a great guy, and so most of his clients aren't powerlifters. Most of his clients are regular people that just want to be able to go to work every day, right, to do housework, to be able to function normally at an optimal level. Right. You know what I mean? So he was great about Bruce is that he shows you how to train good for you, not good for everybody. There's a lot of trainers that'll go on they put down cookie cutter programs, and they teach you all this stuff, but he'll turn around and say, "Okay, this is what we need for you. Right. This is the problem. This is where you need to get stronger. This is and that, and we're going to do this method." And he uses a lot of of different. You know, he's well read in the whole. He's versed in the fitness.
God damn it! I have to start lifting again.
So, yeah, maybe you come over and lift with us
bitch.
a couple days. You know.
Fuck, I gotta bring the termite back.
Bring the termite back.
Gotta bring the Suave Javi back.
That way you can throw some shirtless pictures on your Instagram.
These people don't know how big I was at one point. I was an animal, bro. Jesus Christ.
You can get it back, bro. It's not over.
It's definitely not over, but God, it's just a lot of work.
And that's so going back to that whole Les Brown thing. That's why I think at this late, you know, I'm 45, and then I don't quit trying to do things because I rather, you know, there's another guy, Pat McNamara, Special Forces guy.
I know who he is.
He writes a book and stuff. He writes books and stuff, and he has a
UFC guy, right?
Huh?
No, wasn't he part of the UFC at one point?
No, that's Tim Kennedy. That's Tim Kennedy.
That is Tim Kennedy. You're right.
Pat McNamara is another guy.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And he says, I'd rather burn out than fade away.
Yeah.
And so, like,
I'd rather die on my feet than fucking on my knees.
Yeah. So for me, I'd rather burn out. That was Emiliano Zapata.
Yeah, exactly.
Come
No mames,
on,
way.
bro. You know,
that was a different context, but still,
yes.
It sounded good.
Well, like Edward James Olmos in the movie Selena said,
yeah.
You know, to be Mexican American, you got to know Oprah and Cristina. You got to know Frank Sinatra and Agustin Lara.
That puto also said a negative plus a negative because of positive. Yeah. Remember that shit?
Yeah. And it's kind of, and it's funny too. You think of like the influence that you get from different people, you know what I mean? And then movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, I when I transferred to buying movies on iTunes instead of having them on DVDs.
Yeah.
I gave my DVDs to my nephew. It was 2 DVD books. And I said, Tony, when you watch all these movies,
Alex's son?
Yeah, you could be a man.
That's my homie's kid.
And so I said, you could be a man. I said, you know, here, you know, you watch all these movies. And it was movies like Braveheart, Gladiator.
The greats, right? The greatest movies ever.
And the Rambo movies. You know, people think that the Rambo movies are like mindless, violent things.
No, they're not.
They're not. They actually are a testament to current events that were going on during the time of the release of those movies.
Absolutely.
Rambo 1, what do they talk about? The mistreatment of Vietnam vets in America during when they came back.
I thought they were crazy.
Yeah. Rambo 2, right? When he went back to Vietnam because there were supposedly POWs still there, which we don't know if there was at that time.
Right.
It really well could have been. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but he was bringing attention to that. Rambo 3, he goes to save Colonel Troutman in Afghanistan, fighting the Russians.
The Russians, that was a real thing going on.
That was a real thing going on. There was an Afghan-Russian war. And at that time, we were backing up and we gave Stinger missiles to the Afghanis.
The Red Dawn
so
era.
that they could knock down the Russians because we had this political view.
We funded Osama bin Laden back then.
Yeah. So it was a view of the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah. People don't know that. Like back then we funded Osama bin Laden with Stinger missiles and millions of dollars of backup so that and his, what do they call them?
The jihadists.
The jihadists could fight against the Russians.
The mujahideen.
It was our enemy against our enemy.
The enemy of our enemy is our friend.
We've been doing that for a long time, and it always comes back to bite us in our ass.
Yeah. So that's Rambo 3.
Yeah.
Rambo 4, there was bringing attention to the whole situation that's going on in Burma.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nobody knew about that. Nobody was ever talking about what's going on, the genocide that's going on in Burma.
Fucking Sly was a preacher in a sense.
Yes. And then the last one, what's it about? Human trafficking in Mexico and the cartels and stuff like that.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, dude. Come on, bro.
It's a recent one?
Yes.
This is the newest one?
Yes.
I gotta watch it?
Last Blood. Rambo Last Blood.
So like all again, Sylvester Stallone. Hey. Fucking Sylvester Stallone.
Hey, and you know what? And Sylvester Stallone was the only English-only speaking actor in the whole movie.
Do you know his face is fucked up because...
When he was born, they pulled him out with the forceps.
So his mom has such a fucking crazy tight vagina They pulled that fool out of the vagina with forceps and fucked up his face forever.
Yeah,
that's why he's like, hey, what's up?
But
hey?
you hear his story, and it's also inspiring.
He's a. I mean, come on, dude. He's my canary in the coal mine, by the way. So I'm probably gonna start doing steroids in my 40 years. I think I'm gonna Joe Rogan it and say fuck it and just start doing fucking steroids to get buff again and be slim again and just start wrecking cheeks, you know. So I think it's time for me. But
so you hear his story. And
he's like 70 years old, still on steroids, right?
And he uses PEDs. I think
steroids, bulldog.
Whatever.
From the doctor.
Yeah. And so
I don't gotta go to TJ and put him fucking in my asshole to bring him back.
He's still, even regardless, you can't just take those and be fit. You know what I mean? You still
you gotta work. But his daughters are hot too.
They're pretty
pretty big.
But he
I'm talking shit now. Sorry,
you hear you're gonna get me in trouble, bro.
I know. Sorry, Spencer.
What's it called?
Hey, it's me. It's on me. It's on me.
What's it called? You hear his story and how he started out, and it's pretty impressive.
Oh, for sure. His story. No, it's no joke.
If anybody's ever interested in hearing, I think the first time I heard it was Tony Robbins telling it on Tony Robbins telling it on Instagram.
Forget about that puto.
Yeah, and so I heard him telling the Sylvester Stallone story, and it's freaking. I was like, wow. You want to talk about a guy with resolve, and going back to how movies influence you. There's a movie called Whiplash. You ever seen that movie?
Rings a bell, but I can't.
It's about a drummer, a kid that wants to be a drummer.
It rings a bell, but I can't remember from where.
Okay, so you watch that movie, and the movie's called Whiplash. And I watched that movie, and after I finished that movie, I'm going, damn, I'm a piece of shit. I haven't done anything.
Come on, you can't feel that way.
But that's how this movie makes you
feel. Jesus Christ, I feel like a super piece of shit. Come on, Robert. Jesus.
So you watch that movie, and that's a great movie. It's called Whiplash, and you talk about somebody that has the tenacity, the resolve to focus on one thing and just become great. Yeah. And in the movie they tell a story about Charlie Parker, who's a great saxophone player.
I do know Charlie Parker.
Charlie Parker is, the bird. And so they said that first time Charlie Parker came onto a band, the drummer, who was already a jazz badass drummer, Charlie Parker goes on and does a mediocre solo. The drummer gets up, pulls a cymbal off his drum set and throws that to get him off the stage, like get the fuck out of here. So Charlie Parker goes home, and he could have said, "Oh, I don't deserve this," but no. What does he do? He fucking practices, and he comes back, and then he becomes a legend. So they're saying how had that drummer not thrown that cymbal at him,
he would never. Yeah.
Charlie Parker wouldn't have been the bird.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So they tell that story in the movie, and that's kind of like the main theme of the movie about what it takes to be the best at something, and it's pretty, going back to like why I think movies are important and what you expose your family to.
So what's the most important thing to you today when it comes to kids in general, like raising kids? Because to me, I think we're in a really, really weird sort of paradigm shift. Like we're just in a weird time, right? To me, the woke culture has been extremely detrimental to moving forward. To me, there's a lot of young men out there who are young men, but who haven't had that sort of shift from being a coddled boy to a man and don't understand what it is to be a man.
Yeah.
To me, there's just so many weird things going on today. Like, society is fucking crazy, right? It's weird. Absolutely. We're in a really weird time. It's an extremely weird and detrimental time. Like, I really worry. Here's something I genuinely worry about that people don't often talk about, that I think is something that's really concerning to me. Our generation today of young men, if for some reason a global war broke out right now, my son's 17, right? He's about to be 18 in 3 months. If his generation had to fight a war, I'm fucking genuinely concerned. Not because of who my son is, but because of the kids in his generation that I know I know they are. So what gives? Like what?
I have this idea that you are who you are, regardless of what the influences are. So if the situation calls for that, they'll rise up.
So you think you're born a certain way?
Yeah, absolutely. There's if you ever read the Book of Five Rings?
Absolutely, I've read it like 5 times.
Okay. So the Book of Five Rings, how they say that there's 3 types of men. There's the merchant, the artist, and the warrior. Not to say that
I'm gonna pull it out for you.
Yeah, not to. Here, look
not since we're talking.
There it is.
You thought I was kidding, huh, puto?
Yeah, Musashi. You know, so not to
by
say.
the way, he's a Japanese samurai.
Yeah.
Who had a lot of tactical ways that he would fight, and it wasn't always the badass way of fighting.
No,
it was the smart way. The
smartest way, and it's like the Japanese version of the Art of War, but less wordy.
I have that book too.
Less wordy. You know.
Here too.
So he said that there's 3 types of men, and there's a merchant. There's a damn. There it is.
I got all the books. I got a little version. I got all the books. I pull them out of my ass, but I got all these books.
So
I used to book with me everywhere, even when I would fly and I'd read it.
Yeah.
And 48 laws of fucking.
Good.
Okay, I have so many books, bro. So
yeah. There's a lot of
people are like, why are you smart? I'm not smart, assholes. I'm definitely not smart. I read.
Yeah.
And everyone, if you want to be smart, fucking read.
Yeah, reading, or even easier now, audiobooks. I love audiobooks.
But it's not the same thing though. I think you have to read them. I don't get the same experience from reading or hearing books that I do from reading them. Like I've read these books 5 times each.
They're perfecting the way they're doing them. Say, I'll give you an example. David Goggins' book.
Fuck that asshole.
I know you don't like him, but I'll go back to his.
Because not everybody's a fucking Navy SEAL.
Yeah, exactly. I understand that, but I read his book first.
Okay.
Right? But then I got the audiobook. And then I listened.
He's down here. Fuck you, motherfucker.
No, he's not.
Man up,
he's
asshole.
not even reading it.
No?
It's another person reading it. His idea was, I don't want you to think of it as...
I'm not a David Goggins hater by any means.
Yeah,
I'm just saying,
I know.
I'm saying the one thing about him that really that I don't agree with is telling people that you can... It's like it's the Oprah The Secret thing, right? It's the same shit. It's telling people that everyone can do this. No, you can't. The idea of The Secret, for instance, the Oprah The Secret book, right? You know, the biggest secret was like, not the biggest secret, but The Secret or whatever. It's over here too somewhere. That fucking book. But that book tells you like, oh, if you wish upon something and you really will it and you do a fucking vision board, you can have this mansion. That's not how it works.
No, it doesn't work. I think it doesn't work in a mystical sense. I think it works in if you have that vision, it's
planting the seed.
You put that energy out into the universe, it comes back to you. Yeah. And so I believe that. I believe that.
To a certain extent.
To a certain extent. You have to put in the work.
Yes.
You absolutely have to put in the work.
Yes.
But like
sorry, I want people to really respect David Goggins for being a person who inspires people.
Yes.
I do get that.
Yeah.
But to tell everyone like, stay hard, motherfucker, you could be a Navy SEAL too. Like, he was never really that fat, by the way. Like, his pictures that he puts out there, he was fat, but he wasn't like the guy fat on the couch that can't get up and tie his own shoes fat.
No, he wasn't that
He was not that fat.
But he was 300 pounds.
Yes, but he was also 6 foot fucking whatever he is.
6'3".
Exactly. Yeah. He's a big motherfucker, right? So 6'3", 300 pounds. Today, it'd be like a normal American walking around. You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah.
What I'm saying
but
is,
you want to talk about
what I'm saying is he's gifted. I'm not saying he doesn't work hard. I'm not saying his ethic and what he's preaching is not a good thing.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is to preach to people that I went from this to a Navy SEAL is really disingenuous because not everyone can do that.
No.
I would say 98% of the people in this world could not do that.
Well.
You know?
Yeah, that's.
You can improve your life. You can lose weight. You can do all those things. You can be inspired by it, but you're not
everybody's gonna want to be a Navy SEAL. Right, yeah. just like not everybody wants to.
But he preached. That's his sell point, though.
No, his sell point was like, look at what I did, and
he went from being a fat guy on the couch to being a Navy SEAL and passing buds.
Yeah. So.
Anyways, I'm not a David. I'm not a hater. I actually really genuinely think he's a badass motherfucker.
Yeah, he is.
I do.
And he runs ultra marathons.
I just don't want people. I just don't want people to get the wrong idea.
Yeah,
it's
kind of not everybody could do it. Not,
exactly.
I couldn't do it. I don't think I could do it. Maybe when I was in my 20s, maybe. But like now,
he can inspire you to get healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
And that I appreciate.
So he did inspire me to like go back after things.
You love him. Just jerk them off already.
And then, come on, bro. I don't do that.
I just kidding. Nah,
But I'm just saying, like, so I'm just using the example of his book. The way they did the audiobook was the reader read the chapter, and then it turned into a podcast in between the chapters.
Okay.
So it was pretty neat. It was, I've done another book. It's called The Carnivore Code. And so I haven't eaten vegetable since October 26th. I'm on a carnivore diet.
You just eat straight meat?
Just straight meat.
I didn't know. How's your diarrhea?
Organs. I don't have diarrhea. I have normal poop. Normal.
Just straight meat?
Just straight meat.
You're really Joe Rogan, dude.
No, I'm just... He interviewed Paul Saladino, who's a doctor.
Yeah.
And I read his book called The Carnivore Code, and it freaking made sense.
Well, I'm looking at your fucking veins, and of course they make sense.
It's
okay. So give me the key, because I gotta start eating fucking.
Okay, so if you gotta get the book. Get the book.
You know me. I'm talking shit. Don't be mad at me. You know me. You already know me, asshole. Fuck every friend.
Yeah, I know. So the way he did his book was super entertaining, and we're talking. His book is mainly biochem. He's talking mainly biochem, which
he's measuring markers and all that stuff.
Exactly. He's talking about hormesis. He's talking about the way cells are broken down and stuff like that. And you're just like, what the hell is it? What is this? HTP and da 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 da. And you're just like, what the hell? What is this? But the way he presents it is he'll present it to you like full on scientific terms, and then he'll turn around and put it in layman terms. So if I were to read the book, I wouldn't know how to pronounce hormesis. I wouldn't know what it was. Right. With the difference between chemical and environmental hormesis. But I listened to it. And so it made it, and he was able to explain it. So now it's like I'm listening to a professor. So the audiobook version of that was awesome. And then there's another guy, Mark Sisson, who I believe he used to do the Ironman Pros, where you run a marathon, you bike for forever, and then
it's like 100 some off miles.
Then you run another marathon, some crazy thing. And then his is called the Primal Endurance, his book, and it kind of went hand in hand with the Carnivore Code. And so it was like, whoa, it could just kind of change my life in terms of how I eat and how I look at things. I think of when I went through my law enforcement academy for that time, I was trying to supposedly be healthy, and I was eating like 6 egg whites in the morning. And then, that's bullshit. So I was eating 6 egg whites in the morning, and then I'd have kale salads the rest of the day with some chicken in them. I felt like shit. I got fatter. Right. And I found out later that kale has freaking toxins in it that make you that fucks with your thyroid.
Probably fucking makes your dick shrivel too.
Yeah, fucks with your thyroid, and then next thing you know, you're feeling like shit.
It's like eating soy. Eat soy. Gives you tits, motherfucker. Yeah. Like
some people will say it doesn't. And so basically, I've been eating an animal-based diet since October 26th. Just
pure meat.
Pure meat and organs.
So that's 3 months.
Yeah, and
you eat nothing other than meat.
Yeah.
No carbs.
No carbs. Nothing.
How do you do that though? So I'm sure there was a transition period.
There was, and I felt like shit the first. I had done keto before.
Right. Okay, so is it keto or is it?
No, it's carnivore. Keto is like JV, and carnivore is like varsity.
Okay, so should I start with keto?
I'd say fucking go full carnivore.
Go hardcore, motherfucker. Yeah. You know me already. Fucking hobby. Go hardcore. Go home, Fuck yeah.
And so you could try it, and you'll feel great. I guarantee it. I don't want to sound like vegans do, and they say, "Oh, this is the way you have to eat and save the planet." Da, da, da. I'm not trying to sound, but for me, since I switched over to this way of eating, I wouldn't even call it a diet because it's not like a fad thing. It's like the way I feel good eating, and I eat liver.
So
I eat.
Give me an example of what you eat for a day though, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
So I still eat eggs. I eat eggs, and I do cheese too.
So eggs and cheese.
Eggs and cheese, but like in the morning, I'll eat like a pound of. So
a pound.
So no, check this out. So I don't even eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Okay.
Because there's no dietary benefit to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like if you think about it, it's arbitrary. You know what I mean? You're eating. You think back to a caveman. Right. What kind of shape did a caveman or cavewoman have to be in to survive day to day? Right. Tremendous shape. You know what I mean? You're fighting saber-toothed tigers or bears and shit, and you're trying to survive the cold, and you have to all these harsh shit, And so, they didn't wake up in the morning like, oh, it's breakfast time. Let me eat something.
Hurry up! Can I have a steak for breakfast or not?
No. It was like you eat when you're hungry. So if you're hungry 10 times a day, eat 10 times a day. If you're hungry once a day, only eat once a day. So basically, what you're doing is you're making your body fat adapted. So the way I like to explain it is imagine, take this, like, so what is fat? Fat is stored energy.
It should be called the Eskimo diet.
Well, Eskimos eat like that.
That's what they do. Yeah, they eat nothing but
fatty stuff,
animals.
And so we've been kind of misled, and
they don't have heart disease, by the way.
No,
heart disease doesn't exist.
It exists on the ones that were in the Western diet.
Are they Eskimos anymore? I don't know. What do we call them? Because someone's gonna get mad at me.
Yeah.
What do we call them? Inuits. Whatever it is, I'm sorry if I called it wrong, but I know that your people, native people of Alaska,
yes,
and they're basically Asians in a sense,
yes,
don't eat anything other than fatty animal meats from seals and blubber, fish and those kind of things, and they have no heart disease.
No, and so the ones that do have like the Western diet, they eat grains and stuff like that, and so so you're not like, you eat when you're hungry. Okay.
Right.
So your body, so fat is stored energy. Hunger is your body telling you, hey, I need energy. Right.
Right.
So if I'm fat, why would I get hungry? Because I have all that stored energy. Well, because my body's not.
So it's the fat for energy.
So
you're basically, it's keto in a sense, but it's a lot of keto, but you're only eating meat. Where keto, you can have vegetables and everything else.
Yes.
Okay.
So
maybe I should
kind of, that's
keto.
Like a simplistic.
So maybe
way
I
to
should
put
start
it.
keto, because I don't know if I can just go straight meat. If I straight meat, well, I'm gonna be shitting on a rock for a month.
No, dude.
My ass is gonna bleed out.
The idea is to eat nose to tail. So I eat everything. I eat lungs.
You're Mexican.
Beef heart.
Sesos,
exactly.
All that shit,
yeah,
right?
exactly. So like the other day I made menudo with no hominy. With some places in Mexico they don't use hominy.
They don't use hominy. Yeah.
But I tried not to do. At one point I stopped drinking coffee too because it comes from a plant. Anything that came from a plant, I didn't
Get
do
the fuck out of here, Robert.
For about a month, I didn't drink coffee.
Dude, you're fucking Joe Rogan to the heartbeat, bro.
And no, not really. I wish I was that. But that guy's a badass too. He's a badass in his own right. So I did that, and it all was. I did a physical health assessment for the military, and they told me you're fat. I was 270 pounds, and so I was like, fuck, I need to drop some weight. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna just go full carnivore. I'm gonna do this, and I did it. And right now I'm 240 pounds. So from October 6th, 26th to now, I've just been eating meat,
and eggs,
meat and eggs. And so
is it steaks? Is it pork chops? Is it carne asada? What is it?
Pork chops, carne asada, sesos, lungs, kidneys.
So
I'm throwing organ meats too.
Okay, so let me say this: I couldn't do your diet if I was just eating fucking carne asada all the time. It probably wouldn't work out. I have to get the liver. I have to get the lungs. I have to get the.
There's another doctor, Sean Baker, who's also a proponent of the carnivore diet.
Yeah.
And he's trip out on this. The other day, I was watching his live thing on Instagram, and I just put on their greetings from Santa Barbara, this and that, and he's like, "Oh, I used to live in Lompoc," because he was in the Air Force. Lompoc. Yeah. So he says I used to live and I used to play rugby in Santa Barbara for the Santa Barbara Grunion. So trip out on that. So it was kind of cool, So Dr. Sean Baker, he says you don't need to do the organ meats. He doesn't do the organ meats. He only does the steaks and stuff like that. But he does high fats. They all do high fats.
So I gotta do keto because Alex lost a bunch of weight on keto.
Yeah,
your brother Alex, my good friend.
Yeah,
lost a shitload of weight on keto.
Yeah,
but I don't know where I would start with keto because I feel like I already have fucking I have high blood pressure and I have fucking high cholesterol.
So a lot of this, and then going back, like a disclaimer,
You're not a doctor. We're not
a doctor.
We're not offering any kind of advice here. We're just bullshit. Two friends bullshit.
Yeah, I'm just Robert Gutierrez. I'm not freaking. I'm just a guy with an opinion.
We're two old school homies talking about bullshit. And there's no advice here whatsoever.
So just to put out that disclaimer, but
take your kale shake and shove it up your butt. We don't care.
Yeah, and so so you can get into that just by just saying, okay, I'm only gonna eat 20 grams of carbs a day, and which is nothing,
right?
So you want to make those count.
It's like 2 peanuts.
No, it's like maybe a strawberry, so, or maybe a strawberry or two. But you can cancel those out if the carbs will get canceled out if there's fiber. So if it's something like, say for instance, we'll say a raspberry. A raspberry has almost 1-for-1 ratio of fiber to carbohydrates. So they cancel out. So if it's fiber, it cancels out the carb. So if you eat, we'll say something that has 30 grams of fiber and 40 carbs, then in actuality you're only getting 10 carbs.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So
I get a little raspberries.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, that's just an example.
You can do avocados and shit. Like that.
Avocados and stuff like that.
Okay, we'll talk offline about this shit. Definitely. We can go deep into it. Yeah. I think my fat ass is time to get way too some weight because I've been way too fat too long, and I got to get back to bed person in like 3:55. Like it's nobody's business anymore.
Yeah. So. And the thing is like, you know, I think about what my dad looked at like at my age, and you know, and he didn't look like me.
Right.
You know. And I even look at people that are my age, and they don't look like me. You know what I mean?
I'm younger than you, asshole.
I think of, you know, people, when I tell people that I'm 45, they're like, "What the hell?" You know, I thought you were, you know, something else. But
no, let's get serious. We'll talk about it offline because I want to drop weight. I just worry about the whole cholesterol piece.
Yeah, and so that's like and so a lot of the things that we have gotten in terms of dietary advice from the FDA or whatever. Of course,
the fucking pyramid.
The pyramid is bullshit.
Absolute
stuff
bullshit.
Like that. You know, so it, you know, you can't go by that stuff anymore because it just, you know, the fact that we have to. I mean, there's all kinds of like documentaries that you can watch.
Oh, for sure.
There's one called Fat. Just FAT, and it's on iTunes.
I feel fucking triggered.
And that one is really good. Okay. There's another one called The Magic Pill. It's on Netflix.
I need to watch that one.
That one was amazing. You know, there's one at one point when they showed the great.
Dude, so what do you do for carbs? Because see, me, carbs are everything.
So
if I don't have carbs, I'm gonna have to fuck like every woman I've ever saw in my life to compensate for not having carbs.
No, I just don't crave them anymore.
No,
you know,
at all,
not at all. You know, eventually, sometimes, you know, I'll see, because at my house, obviously, I'm the only one that's eating like this.
Yeah, well, menudo with hominy, bro. Come on, no mames,
no hominy, bro.
Come on, no tortilla, nothing.
Nothing. Just the menudo, just the honeycomb tripe.
It hurts my soul.
The honeycomb tripe with the beef tendon and the pata, and that's it.
Bro,
but I put so much of it.
No tortilla, fool. Come on,
no tortilla,
bro.
and I won't even. And so that's like, you know, I'll use spices. You know what I mean? And sometimes I'll use chili powder, but that's about it in terms of plants. You know what I mean? I try not to do anything with plants.
Hey, fuck plants, you vegan putos.
so I mean, and you look at the guys that are promoting the carnivore diet, the doctors that are, you look at how they look, and you look at the vegan doctors, and you're just like,
the vegans look super sick and weird.
Yeah,
like,
and it's
come
not,
on, bro.
And
eat an M&M, puto. Like, fucking eat something, bro. Have a Snickers, something.
Yeah. And it's not to knock on them. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. The thing about diets is these, especially these kind of diets, is that they're very much a personal thing, but it's also once you conquer it, it's like, oh, I did this shit, fucking. But it's also like, I did this shit, I can do it. You know what I mean? Like, like I'm sure somebody who's vegan who was a fat piece of shit and became vegan and lost a bunch of weight. Like, oh, this is the fucking most amazing thing ever. Like, it's very personal to that person.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
I think if it works for you, do it.
Right. I watch Alex, your brother, who's my fucking one of my best friends in the world, lost a bunch of weight on keto.
Yeah. Yep.
He lost a shitload of weight on keto, and then he got fucking back.
And
he's back in the married life, and
he's not the only one. And you know, not to like stroke off fucking Joe Rogan or anything, but that's where I first heard of it. Yeah. And that's where I decided I'm going to do it. And then I did it, and then next thing you know, I dropped all kinds of weight.
Fucking,
you know, and it was I was about to go to a training in Louisiana. And it was in the middle of summer. And I was like, fuck, if I'm fat at this training and there's Louisiana swamps in the summertime, it's going to fucking suck. So I need to drop weight. Because otherwise it's going to be bad. So I got on keto and in 3 months, boom, dropped like 30 pounds. I was like, whoa. Oh, but once I was there, I couldn't do it anymore because I was at the mercy of the military, how they were going to feed me. So eating MREs and the MREs are like full of carbs. I just that went out the door. You know what I mean? And
I feel like my soul's gonna be really sad.
When I got back, it was really difficult to get back into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then little by little, and then my sister passed away, and then
rest in peace.
And then everything, like people were bringing over food, and I was down, so I started eating shit and stuff like that, and it continued, and then then this last October I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it again, and by this time I'm gonna go full.
See, life changes, man. Like when your sister passed away, right? Rest in peace to Rebecca. But like when it's hard to keep a diet going, man. It's so hard. It's you have to be diligent. You have to be serious. You have to be on it,
Yeah.
And diet's everything.
And this definitely helped me with everything else. It helped me like focus on this and feel better. And I'm in less pain than I was before. There's like, you have less inflammation. Because there's a lot of things that causes inflammation.
How about chorizo? Chorizo good? Chorizo's good?
Chorizo's good.
Right,
Chorizo's good. You can still have chorizo. You can still have...
I'm saying, can you get the chorizo, get fierro?
Fierro? Oh, yeah. That's,
okay, that's all I care about.
So trip out on this. Like, everything starts to work better.
Really?
Yes.
I'm going on this diet. Fierro hasta la verga, güey.
Everything is enhanced. So it definitely has.
Man, fierro's coming. Oh boy. So, hey, April-ish, I'm gonna have a fierro.
And
Sin
then,
panza, cabronas.
Yeah.
¿Qué más quieres, cabronas?
And then they say that if you have less of a backdrop, it looks bigger.
Yeah, but that too, man. Fucking my fat ass. Fucking Jesus
that
Christ.
Chris Rock joke. He says,
if I could eat avocado, see me, man, the tortilla in the morning or whatever, like just to have an avocado and a tortilla with something. But I guess I guess
if you do keto, I think they, at Costco they have like a cauliflower egg tortilla.
Some shit like that, huh?
Yeah,
right.
And it's not the same, but it's a replacement. It helps you get through that.
I'm gonna need some help here, then, Rob. You're gonna have to fucking help me out.
You can do it, Vato.
You're gonna have to steer me out, cause
but yeah, it's definitely, I don't know how we got to this tangent of carnivore diet,
because we were talking about fucking all this carne you're eating, being all big and buff and shit.
So you asked me what I eat in a day. So I eat in the morning. I'll eat like maybe 6 eggs, full eggs with the yolk and everything, and 6 whole eggs and a pound of ground beef. That's
pound of ground beef and eggs. See, I can do that.
So ground beef and the ground beef,
like the gorda and everything.
Yeah, everything. So you want to get the fattest ground beef that you can get. So if you can get one that's
I could do that, bro.
Like there's ones that they can be like 55% lean beef.
I love
45 fat. So I'll add tallow, which is cow fat, to the ground beef.
That's manteca.
No, manteca's from pigs. That's seriously.
Okay, but
lard,
it's the same shit.
No, it is, but
it's just fat though.
It's fat. Yeah, it's the correct name for pig fat
is manteca,
or tallow is lard.
I got
and then tallow.
But you can use either or, right? Substitution or no?
Yeah, you can. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll buy this ground meat that's ground liver, ground kidneys, and ground regular beef. It's all ground and heart all together. And then
Where the fuck do you buy that at?
On a website. You get it sent to my house.
Oh shit, Joe Rogan. I need Joe Rogan's fucking.
So I'll buy it, and it's not as expensive as you think. You would think it's expensive. If I was eating ribeye steaks, which I wish I could every day, all the time, and I wish I could.
But you could do that. Like if I want a steak in the morning for lunch,
you can have a freaking ribeye because there's fat on it.
I'm gonna try this shit. I'm starting next week, bro. I'm not lying.
So I'll eat that, and sometimes I'll eat that, and then I'll add that pound of ground beef. I'll get like half a pack of bacon.
But you can shit though. You're not having like constipation.
No.
Because when I eat like that, I get constipated.
So in the beginning, you'll get adapted to it, and then you'll be normalized. Really? And then if you get that feeling,
can I eat fiber?
Eat a little bit of avocado.
Avocado?
Yeah.
What about like fucking like
avocado will provide you with enough fiber.
My asshole, bro, is weird, bro.
So that's what I'm saying. Like if you start doing this, it'll get normalized. You'll eventually get used to it.
I'm gonna bleed on my asshole for like a week.
And even if you want to like get to learn just the gist of it,
watch
the podcast with Joe Rogan and Paul Saladino. If you watch that podcast,
No, if I'm buying steaks tomorrow.
but I mean, like, who doesn't like steak?
That's what I'm saying. I'll eat steaks every
sometimes
fucking
I'll
day.
eat and then I'll eat in the morning or I'll eat in the mid morning. I'll try to put and then I'll go the rest of the day without
Are you
eating.
counting calories at all, or just eating whatever
just eating
steaks
like
you want?
just whatever steaks I want. So
Okay.
so sometimes I'll go to the kitchen to get something to eat, and I'm like, fuck, am I really hungry? No, I'm not. I'm just eating out of boredom or out of habit. So I'll go take a walk because I have to get away from the kitchen. I have to get my mind off of that. And then so
Damn, I'm gonna order pizza tonight, and tomorrow I'm eating steaks for the rest of my life.
do it.
I'm gonna shit bricks.
Or then, what I used to do is at work they'd buy pizza, and so they would have Rusty's Pizza, whatever. So then I would just get the top of the pizza and scrape it off.
All the cheese and everything.
The cheese and
you
the,
can eat
and
that.
the pepperoni. I'll throw it in my mouth and then throw away the bread.
You can eat that.
Yes.
I'm already horny.
So I mean, there's different ways. There's different ways of doing it, and the way that I'm explaining it might not be the way that somebody else.
But you'll lose weight because you cut out carbs, sugar.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So basically, the death of us is carbs and sugar, and a lot of and then using vegetable oil is horrible.
But vegetables are bad. Like, what about raw vegetables? You can't eat raw. But
No, I don't eat vegetables at all.
what the fuck is wrong with you? Bro?
Nothing wrong with me. Absolutely everything right about
Jesus
about this whole
Christ,
thing.
dude! Fucking, you can't eat vegetables, bro.
No, I just eat.
Will it hurt the diet though? Like if
Just
I want
what I'm trying to accomplish with it, what I'm working, towards doing it. It's fine. You know what I mean?
So
like,
what if I wanted steaks though, like broccoli, raw broccoli? Like you couldn't do that.
If I would advise against it, but you can do it if you want to do it. And if you feel better about doing it, then you can do it.
I just don't want to shit a brick, bro. Like I feel like if I just eat steaks for a week, I'm gonna have a bloody asshole for like.
No, you won't. You won't.
No.
No, it's you might for a day. You might for a day, and you might get explosive diarrhea for a day too.
I'm good.
But it's
at that.
basically your body's getting rid of the bacteria that's craving the carbs.
The carbs
To break down the carbs. So
right.
once you get rid of that, and then you're.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna try this shit for at least 2 weeks.
Do it. That's how you start. Try it for a week first.
I'll try it for 2 weeks.
Right,
I'll do 2 weeks. So what I'll do is I'll do no carbs. I can't have vodka.
Nothing.
No vodka? No vodka.
Just try not to drink for 2 weeks. You can do that.
Fuck, that sucks. All right,
Just
2
do it.
weeks. 2 weeks is pure meat. But vodka's for potatoes, fool. That's fucking.
That's when potatoes are no good.
Oh, fuck.
All
right.
I think
there's no beef. Fucking. There's no beef born alcohol.
Beef born alcohol. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they'll figure that one out soon.
I think I can figure. I think if I do
that would be. I think that's a business we got to look into right there.
Fucking hate life sometimes, but no, I'll try it. I'll try.
The proof is.
I don't want tallow though. I don't want that guy for. I want to throw pig.
Yeah,
fucking
you could
fat
throw
on
pig
shit,
fat on everything. You could throw tallow on everything. You could throw ghee, which is a clarified butter, and the ghee that they saw at Costco is fucking amazing. It tastes like fucking movie popcorn.
All right, 2 weeks.
So
2 weeks. We'll see how I feel.
Do it.
If I hate my life, we're gonna come back on this podcast and we'll talk shit to you.
Yeah, you could talk shit to me
for hours.
Yeah, we'll do it. I think that.
All right, I'll start Monday. What am I saying right now? Jesus Christ!
Fucking just do it. Bitch.
I'll do it, bro.
Just do it.
Fuck you, fucking you. You're like a Mexican David Goggins, you fucking asshole.
No, not even. I'm not even close.
Jesus Christ!
Just a guy. Just a guy.
We're all just guys, bro.
Yeah, that's it.
We're all just guys trying to inspire other people. That's all that matters, especially young men.
Yeah, and just trying to make sure that I not only survive but thrive.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like what we have to do. Because otherwise, what's the purpose?
And when you're gone, what's your legacy?
Yeah, but it's like not. I think also another Les Brown quote from his motivational speeches is like, it's with your kids, it's not what you leave for them, it's what you leave in them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's I hopefully when I'm gone, they'll look back and they'll say, "Damn, my dad was crazy.
Yeah.
Dad used to fucking get up at 5 a.m. or get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym and then do a 12-hour shift." My dad used to get up at 2 o'clock and he's cooking steaks in the kitchen at 2 o'clock in the morning to go to work.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? To go to the gym and then go to work, and then on the weekends he'd go and train, doing military stuff, sleeping in the mountains in the cold and the dirt and stuff like that, and running around and carrying heavy loads on his back and stuff like that. And so, they'll be like, "Damn, that's crazy," because he was old already, and I'm not going to give up until my body says no more, no más, like fucking
I hear you,
manos de piedra, and no más, and then that's no más.
I hear you.
Until then, I'm going to keep going.
It's not about what you give them, it's about what you put in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I always say, like, when it comes to my kid, he's my reflection on this earth when I'm gone.
Yep.
And I want that to be a pretty and beautiful reflection. Now, we can do all we can as parents. It's not always the best reflection.
Exactly.
Because some parents are hard on themselves, man. Because the reality is, like, well, my son's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And when I'm gone, I'm sure he's going to continue to be amazing. Those kinds of things. But parents, don't be hard on yourself. So your kids aren't the most amazing thing.
Exactly. And it's hard. It's definitely hard because all your kids are different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, so you can't deal with one kid the way you deal with the other one, and then finding that balance, it's rough.
Right.
It's not easy, so you just try to provide the best advice and the best example that you can, and then
100%,
and then just hope that they carry that out and make good decisions. Are they always going to make good decisions? No, but you have to like make them know that, but at the same time, like be there for them.
100%.
Be there for them no matter what.
Yep.
I mean, growing up, my mom always told me, like, if you get arrested, figure it out. It's on you. Don't call me.
We talked about that earlier.
Yeah, and so and then I think back to like a situation that my son was in. His football coach was talking shit to him, and at that time I wasn't coaching the team yet, and the team was coached by guys that had never played football before. This is why I didn't want him to play YFL, because there's parents there that coach that have never played football before.
Yeah, there's coaches who don't know what the fuck
all of a sudden they
it's like
play
AYSO and shit.
They play Madden and they watch TV. They watch the Raiders play on Sunday, and all of a sudden they're coaches.
Oh,
so
shit.
so they
drinking Bud Lights on a Sunday yard at the screen.
Yeah, and so they one of the coaches was mad at my son for whatever reason, and he was it's talking shit to him. So then my son was upset. So at first, my first was like, oh man, I'm gonna go talk to this guy. And then I thought, hold on, stop. It's a teachable moment. So then I thought, what would my mom tell me if I said,
no llores, culero?
No, she would have said, ¿Quién te trae a pendejo? Who has you over there? You're the one that's over there. Figure it out.
Right. Right.
If you don't feel good about being there, then what are you doing there?
What are you doing there? Yeah.
So then I told my son, I said, hey, so this is your problem, dude. It's not my problem.
Right.
And I said, but I can give you advice on how to fix it. So I said, he says you can't run faster or harder than everybody else. He says you can't block harder and harder than everybody else.
Right.
He says you're not a good football player, be the better football player than everybody else.
Right.
Turns around and he's starting both ways. You know what I mean? On offense and defense. So it was like, he showed him and I didn't do anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Another time there was another kid. My son, his tendency is to be on defense. He feels better on defense, but they had to use him on offense. So he was on offense, and they were scrimmaging against so my son was playing with older kids in his team. So now we're scrimmaging the team that he should be on for his age.
Right.
So now these are kids his own age, and he's scrimmaging them, and this one kid was like talking shit to him. My son was getting upset, like getting pissed, and he's playing offense, and the kid's pretty fast, So my son's trying to block him, and so my son slams him a few times, right? So then the kid's dad was coaching, so I'm coaching too at this point. But I'm standing back, and then he turns around and goes, 56, you better, and he starts yelling at my son, and I'm just like, all right, cool. Gabe looks at me, and he's like, what are you gonna like? What am I gonna do? And I'm just like, all right, I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna So then the next play, the kids talk, chirping, and then Max, does a little extra.
By the way, his kid's name is Max, by the way.
Yeah. So Max does a little extra, and then the dad really gets into Max's face, right? And then Max, so I turned around and looked at him, and Max just gives him like the 2 thumbs up, like, okay.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Like, I'm not scared of you. Like, okay, like like, okay, and kind of sarcastically, kind of surly, And so then I was like, see, I didn't have to say anything. I didn't have to do anything. He
let it organically happen.
Yeah, it organically happened.
That's important too.
Yeah, he figured it out. He did it on his own. I didn't have to step in, even though I wanted to. My feeling was like, oh, don't talk to my kid like that. Yeah. But I'm not going to be there for him all the time when people talk like that to him.
That's so important. The thing you're talking about is fucking critically important though, because we have what they call the hover parent,
the helicopter parent.
The helicopter parent, right? Yeah. That's all over people's kids, and like they're like you have to let your kid fucking fail, man.
Yeah, and
if you don't allow your kid to fail and learn how to fail, that's why you have these fucking school shooters, right? Like, because they never learned how to lose. Yeah. And that's scary too, man. Yeah. We that's we'll say that for another podcast, but like the fact that there are kids out there who get so royally upset because they were told no, or girls didn't like them sexually, or they were not fucking given the quote unquote opportunity to be whatever they wanted to be. Yeah. Get upset and shoot up a school. Yeah. That's fucking insane. And we'll talk about that, man.
Because there's a certain tolerance you build up to a little bit of pain. You know what I mean?
You have to learn how to lose. Yeah. You have to learn how to fail. And here's the thing, man. I'm working on a huge project right now. It's fucking, it's blowing my mind that I'm a part of this opportunity, And the biggest part of this project is knowing that I have extremely, extremely smart people who are very successful, who tell me every day that I'm not doing the right thing, Mm-hmm. And what they're doing is they're coaching me, they're teaching me, they're telling me, hey, this is not right. Yeah. But it doesn't mean you're wrong in the sense. It means that there's a better way to do this because I've been there before. Yeah. They're coaching me. Mm-hmm. And I'm able to do that in my career and be able to talk to people like this and learn. And the first thing I had to learn from that is I cannot be, I have to be humble. Yeah. And I cannot be upset or sensitive to their criteria. Yeah. Because they've done this before.
Because they've been there before.
They've been there before. And they're teaching me. Even at my age, they're fucking teaching me.
Absolutely.
And they're coaching me. And they're saying, this is the thing. And that's, not only is it free, but they're paying me a lot of money to coach me. Yeah. And what the fuck? Like, I mean, should I be upset? Like, the problem is that a lot of kids today and a lot of people today get so butthurt and so angry over things. Be coachable, be teachable. Because understand you're not always right.
That's what I tell my son now. I said, I'm done being coach.
Right.
I want to be dad now. I don't have videos of my son playing. I don't have, I have very limited stuff that other people have sent me, because or pictures. I mean, I have some pictures and stuff like that, but I was busy coaching, and I can't just coach him. I have to coach the rest of the team too, because that's the role I'm playing. And on purpose to show that I wasn't showing favoritism to my son, I benched him one time. He wasn't acting right, so I benched him for half a game. He was mad. He was so mad, but I wanted to send the message that I'm holding everybody to the same criteria, to the same standard, and even him, and so, my cousin Gabe did that to his son. The same thing. He benched his son for a whole game, and he made him sit out the whole game and made him sit in the stands and watch the game, which is even worse.
Even worse.
Yeah. And so he had to sit in the stands and watch the game.
Worse, but that's how you raise men.
Exactly. And so you want to know how if he acted bad again? Never again. Right. Because he had to not only did he let his team down by his behavior, but he he had to sit there and watch them perform without him, and watch what was going on without him, because he was a important part of the team.
That's how you raise men.
And so you think about how that, about that thing. And so you think about a quick story about him. He was in school, and they had like unfortunately we have to have these things now to prepare kids for these situations. Unfortunately, like, school shootings are a reality. Right.
Not in 2020 or 2021 though.
No.
Why? Because there's no one going to school.
Yeah.
So school shootings are way down,
exactly.
And it proves to us that the guns aren't the problem.
Yes,
the people are the fucking problem. Okay, moving on.
So I don't want to get into that one because
that's one of the kind of worms. Yeah, I'm just saying though.
Yeah. So I'm saying like they had an active shooter drill at school. I don't think they told. I think the story was that they didn't tell the kids that this was going to happen, and it happened. So some kids freaked out.
Yeah, of course.
So some kids started crying, and my nephew got a ruler and kind of made a shank with it, and said, and he tells the kids with him that are around his table, says, "Don't worry, I'll if anybody comes to the door, I'm gonna get them." Like he says, "Don't worry about it. I'll do what I can." You know what I mean? So when I talk about you are who you are,
leadership,
yeah. And you are who you are, and his natural instinct was to do that,
right? To fight,
and to protect. You know what I mean? Not just fight for no reason, to protect his classmates,
sheepdog. And
so that's like that was his natural inclination, and so it that goes to show you that I think that in this the scenario that you were bringing up, that those who were going to step up will step up.
100%. That's true, and I think most humans, animalistically or innately, rather, innately meaning like the animal nature built into you, are gonna step up and fight. Most people, you know what I mean. Yeah. A lot of people will not, and that's fine. That's okay. Yeah,
that's fine.
That's okay. That's
everybody
fine.
has their role in life, and you know, some people will fight, some people won't. But some people, there's a book, and I know in the woke culture, this guy's not celebrated, but it's a book. It's called On Killing. And he talks, and it's basically this colonel, I think he's a colonel or a general, I don't know, can't remember, and his name, I can't remember his name right now, but I know the book's called On Killing, and another great audiobook, by the way.
I hope he reads it.
So yeah,
stay hard, motherfucker.
So the book is called On Killing, and he talks about how in battle, there's and he interviewed different World War II veterans, Vietnam veterans, and he studied civil, all kinds of different wars. He said that there's 10 guys, right? Out of those 10 guys, 8 of them shouldn't be there.
Yeah,
8 of them shouldn't be there. 8 of them are going to get killed right away.
But thank God for them showing up.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God for them showing up. But 8 of them shouldn't be there. They're not warriors. One of them is the facilitator. He's the guy that's going to bring you ammo. He's the guy that's going to run in to save you, this and this and that. And then the other one is the actual killer.
Right.
Yeah. So that's out of so it's 1 out of 10 is the actual guy who's ability to go in and do that. Now, then he breaks it down further to saying that there's different reasons for why that one guy's there.
Right.
Psychopath,
Oh, for sure.
Duty to protect, whatever, right?
It's a sheepdog, man.
So that goes to tell you that you are who you are. You know what I mean? Right. And so some people are going to do it for good. Some people
by nature.
Some people are going to do it for bad. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, some people are going to do it for bad. And so that's it. Not to celebrate. I'm not celebrating violence or anything like that by any means whatsoever. But I'm just saying, like, you got to be prepared.
100%.
You got to be prepared. You got and
why do we think today in today's society that violence is not there anymore? I don't understand that, because it feels like people are so comfortable in their own space today, because life is so easy, right? Like, you could just exist today, right? Like, you could be like a fat piece of shit, eat a cheeseburger at 2:00 in the morning for $1.50. Like, it's so easy to exist. You don't have to learn how to kill that cow, how to slaughter it, how to produce the meat, how to barbecue it, how to pasteurize the milk from that cow to make cheese, so you can have a cheese on that piece of fucking, or on your burger. You don't have to raise or plant and grow lettuce. You can have lettuce or tomatoes or anything else, or how to make ketchup. Like, it's just so easy to exist, right? It's like so fucking easy. We're at a point in time today in society that is quite concerning to me because of that.
Well, I think it goes back to like, when I think it was when they created the first railroad, they said that was the death of natural selection. So natural selection.
I never heard of that. That's a good. Now thinking of that, yeah.
So there was the railroad was the death of natural selection, because before there was natural selection, the strongest survived. So that's what survival of the fittest. and then now it's anybody could survive. You know what I mean?
It was a railroad, then it was the telegram, then it was the radio, then it was a TV.
It just went on from there.
Then it was fucking the internet, and now it's fucking the internet plus social media, the internet like plus. It's insane, man. It's. I tell a story often, man, about being at a. I think I've told this on the podcast before. I'm gonna say it again though, and it's mind blowing to me because I'm a very pragmatic person. Pragmatic meaning I think of things very much more realistic perspective. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like 1 + 1 = 2.
Why not everybody could be a Navy SEAL, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, it's true. That's true though, right? I mean, it's true. I'm very pragmatic. So, like, I remember being at a store, man, and I'm gonna say it again. And it blows my fucking mind. It was a long, long day, maybe like a 9, 10, 11-hour day, maybe 12 or 13 hours actually. From Santa Barbara, I drove all the way back to Oxnard. I picked up my kid. My son was little. He's maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 years old, maybe a little bit younger. I said, we got to stop by and go to Walgreens and get some milk because you need milk for your cereal in the morning. Let's do it. And we walk into the store, we grab milk or whatever, and we come back in line, and there's this fucking chola lady there. And I could already feel her vibe, you know? And I look at the line's long. It's like all the way down the store, back to the aisle. I'm like, oh shit, something's going on here. Well, come to find out that the cash registers were down because the internet was down or whatever. So this young girl who's maybe 15, 16, who's working there, she's having to run credit cards manually through the old machine where you would run them across and print it on the thing.
On the paper.
And she's having to do it, right? And so she's freaking out because she doesn't know what the fuck this is. She grew up with iPads and the internet and fucking fast internet and Pornhub and all the other crazy shit. You know what I mean? So she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing, you know?
Yeah.
But she's stressed the fuck out. And there's this woman in front of me and her cholo boyfriend. And the woman in front of me is going, this fucking bitch is taking for fucking ever. I can't fucking believe I gotta wait here. Nah. And she's saying all this shit, right? And after about 20 minutes of this, I lose my cool. And I tap her on her shoulder and I said, excuse me. She said, yeah. I said, you know, you're being really disrespectful and I think you should just stop it. And she looked at me with a look of like, this motherfucker, like her cholo boyfriend was gonna do something.
Yeah.
Like that was a little more fit. I'll beat the fucking dog shit out of that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I look at her and I go, look, let me explain something to you. You have bread in your hand. You have milk in your hand. You have cheese in your hand. I'm assuming you're making sandwiches, but let me ask you a question. Do you know how to make wheat and how to raise germ so you can raise wheat to make bread? Do you know how to raise cows so you can slaughter them and then slaughter some of them and keep the other ones so you could fucking have milk? Do you know how to milk a cow to raise milk cows? Yeah. How about to fucking pasteurize milk so you can make cheese? You don't do any of that? Yeah. She's like, no. I was like, well, then shut the fuck up. I lost my cool, man. And I yelled at her. And then shut the fuck up because here's the thing. You're being really rude to this poor young girl up there who has nothing to fucking do with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You are such a fucking entitled piece of shit. Like she had this, people today have this idea that there's some king and queen. Like if you go to a restaurant and you order food and they fucking add an extra onion on there and you didn't ask for it and you're a piece of shit to that restaurant waitress, you're a piece of shit. Who the fuck died and made you King George?
Exactly. It's like this sense of entitlement that everybody has.
I don't understand that. I can never get behind that, and I can never understand that. And that's what. And I went off on her, and her cholo boyfriend looked at me. I looked at him. I looked at her, and they turned around and they shut up.
Yeah.
And I said, this is fucking crazy, man. Who the fuck are you? Are you fucking Princess Diana? I don't understand who the fuck you are that you think you should be a dick.
Because I think at certain points we all kind of do that sometimes. I mean,
I never do that, bro. I try my best not to ever.
I find myself having to check myself sometimes when especially when I'm driving. Sometimes I have to go somewhere and I'm just like, fuck, I gotta go. Hurry up. This guy's fucking slow. But that's different though.
You're not feeling entitled to the road. You're not feeling entitled.
I have to remember that this isn't the Robert show. You know what I mean? That it's not about me.
That's different though. Driving's different, bro. Like
I think it's the same because I'll get caught at really like aggressive and I want to like get to where I'm going fast, and so I get frustrated sometimes if someone's driving slower, and then I have to check myself because I turn around and see it, it's like a 70-year-old man. I'm thinking to myself, fuck, I don't want to be that man that is holding people up. You know what I mean? And so one day I am going to be that man, and so.
That's different though, man. Because being that man, you're not being an entitled person. You're not saying that I'm better than thou.
Yeah.
You're not feeling that. You are dealing with the realities of your aging. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The people that are at restaurants and that are like at hotels or that are places where the service people were
absolutely
waiting on them. You're not a fucking king or a queen,
No,
man. Shut the fuck up. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah. I mean,
you know
and so there's times where like I've gone to restaurants or whatever, and you get treated super good. And I'm just like, wow, this guy gets fat tip.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's other times where you're just like, come on, bro, you could have done a little bit better than that.
That's different. That's different. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I don't go and make a big old fuss about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just say, okay, cool. You didn't offer me to refill my drink. All right, that's
your
fine.
$10 tip is a $5 tip.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
different.
It's different.
That's part of being human. That's human.
Yeah.
But the other part of being human is the ugly piece is people that feel for whatever reason. It's just weird, man, because the ghettoest, gutterest hood rat feels like a queen today. And I don't understand that. I cannot relate to that. Being that my family comes from nothing. Being that my grandma packed lemons during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
Being that my grandfather and his brothers and his family came here on the fucking Bracero program. I cannot understand thinking that you're better than anybody to the point where you're fucking being a piece of shit to somebody because you had to wait an extra 15 minutes to buy your bread, cheese, and milk. Yeah. Fuck off sideways. You know what I mean? I just don't get it. And that part of society to me is the ugliest part. The ego in society today. People talk about ego, and to me, like that's wild bullshit.
Yeah.
But it's real though. The ego in society today is really bad. It's really bad.
And it's kind of funny because I was watching a video the other day, and on Instagram, and you had commented on it, and you were like, "Look at the Karen is accusing the Karen."
Oh yeah,
there was a guy who was videotaping some lady.
Yeah,
I was saying, "Hey, why parking in front of my house or whatever?" And then she's like, "You better move your truck," and he's like, "I'm not gonna move my truck," and da da da. Look at you, Karen. Da, da, da. And so even that is kind of like gotten ridiculous now. And it's like everybody wants to be the one to post the next big thing,
right?
And so now it's kind of gone to the point where it's kind of lost its luster. Yeah. Where before they would post something that's pretty like significant, you'd be like, "Oh shit, that's kind of like fucked up."
100%.
But now it's like every little thing. You can't do anything. You can't without being called a Karen or
fucking Karens everywhere.
Or whatever they call you.
Just call me a Juanito. Fuck, it's easier. Fuck.
Yeah, whatever. But it's just
so stupid.
And then it's so dumb how everything's hypersensitive and everything gets filmed and everybody has to post it and everybody like and it's kind of it's gone to the point where it's ridiculous.
That video is a great example
of how ridiculous
there was. A fucking the
guy was fucked up all park.
Yes,
he was all fucked up in his parking. It wasn't
just to explain the video.
Yeah, the
guy drives up onto somebody else's front porch, not front porch, but in front of the guy's house. He parks in front of the trash can. So if you take your trash cans out every Monday or Wednesday or whatever, you put them out there, and typically people don't park in front of them because they got to get picked up and put in the dumpster. This asshole drives up in a truck, and he's obviously, I think he's a Latino. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was.
He sounded like kind of Latino, right? He drives up and he parks in front of the fucking trash cans so that the trash can company cannot pick them up. And he's not only parked in front of them, but he's at a diagonal angle, hanging out on the street still. A guy comes up to him and says, "Hey, sir."
No, it was a lady.
Was it a lady? I thought it was. No, it was a guy.
No, because he was calling her.
No, it was a guy.
It was a guy.
Yeah, it was a guy. It was a man, and he called him a Karen. That was the part that was fucking stupid.
Yeah,
it was a guy that came up and said, "Sir." He called him sir.
Yeah.
Sir, you're parked in front of my trash can. Can you move?
Oh yeah.
And he immediately pulls his phone out and goes, "Yeah, will you be a fucking Karen? It's a fucking Karen now. No, well, yeah, fuck you, Karen. You're gonna be a fucking Karen." And he's filming him. And the guy's like, "Sir, I'm just asking you not to park in front of my trash cans." "Yeah, you fucking Karen." And the guy goes and he goes into the person's house that he's going to work in.
Yeah.
Goes into the backyard, and a quote unquote Karen follows him. And the guy's like, "Dude," the guy's like, "You fucking Karen. You fucking Karen." I'm like, "Dude, this is a Karen calling a Karen, and one of them's fucking Mexican. I don't understand what's going on here. I don't fucking get it. You know what I mean?"
Yeah. And it's gone to the point where it's ridiculous.
It's stupid, man.
It's so dumb, and that it's part of that whole woke.
Oh, culture, the woke culture is bullshit, man.
And then you got the on that you have the people feeling entitled,
right?
And then on top of that, it's like so entitled that you can't tell them when they're wrong.
So you're from the military. I have something for you that's crazy to me, and we'll end it on this because it's a sensitive topic. But Trump, about a half year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, he banned the flying of the LGBT flag in embassies. I don't know if you're aware of this or not.
No, I didn't know.
Okay, so he banned it because what happened is LGBT month is in June, and they flew the flag in Moscow, and Putin made a bunch of jokes around it, laughed and said, "This is America." You know what I mean? America's fucking gay. They're fucking, because they're super against gay people in Russia. They're very Orthodox Christian. And Putin's totally anti-gay, and that's fine. Whatever, that's his perspective. I don't care. I'm pro-gay rights and all that shit. You know, it sucks that I have to say that, but so Trump banned the flying of flags in embassies around the globe, right? And so the very first thing that Biden did, or one of the very first things, was to allow the flying of flags. Now I understand. And let me be very clear again. I hate that I have to say this. Let me be clear about two things. One is, I'm neither a Democrat and I'm neither Republican. I'm neither one of those. I am a man who is well thought out, and I research what I'm talking about for the most part. You know, like I'm just not either left or right, and I hate to be put in a bubble. And so people, let me say it this way. My liberal friends think I'm a crazy Christian conservative. My crazy Christian conservative friends think I'm a liberal piece of shit hippie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm in the fucking middle, and everyone hates me, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So when it comes to gay rights and all these things, I'm fucking 100% all about it. You know what I mean? Like, equality is a huge thing to me.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't understand why we're worrying about the flying of an LGBT flag in an embassy when there's so much more fish to fry right now. Like, our country's in such a weird place. Why was this one of the first things we were worried about? Why weren't we worried about like a million other things? I'm trying to understand and grasp it. And I feel like this is just a ploy from the left to just get more votes down the road, to just get more attention and love from a certain group of people. You know, it seems very political to me.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, you know, going back to, you know, being in the military doesn't make me an expert on politics or anything like that. Just me as a normal American, I'm thinking that those are quick things that he could do.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
That makes sense.
To undo, and it's the same thing. I'm in the same boat as you are. I'm not allied to any political party. I'm not, you know. I think back to like people that have said stuff that makes sense to me. So one of them was Chris Rock, who talked about politics, and he said that in America we have a gang mentality, and everybody wants to be part of the liberal gang, and everybody wants to be the part of the conservative gang, and you know, he says, how stupid can you be? How can you make up your mind about something you don't know anything about?
I love it.
Yeah. So, you know, and then he goes off and he says, you know, some things I'm conservative about, some things I'm you know, and that's true with me too. I'm conservative about some things and I'm liberal about other things, or quote unquote, if you want to put them in a package, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I think they're just common sense things to me. And is there an aspect of American culture that's underrepresented? Absolutely. There's parts that are very underrepresented. Represented, and if we can make them feel included by flying their flag, then by all means, I don't.
In the embassy around the globe.
Yeah,
though?
I don't see a problem with that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's to show the world, hey, we are America, and we're inviting to everybody.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? So we want to be that shining city on the hill.
I just figured the 300 million Americans who are suffering without money,
yeah, absolutely,
should take precedence over that. I'm not saying that's not important. I'm not saying that I don't support it.
I think that's a quick fix. That's something that you can do easy with the swipe of a pen, and with very little.
He also okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think that's, you know, further, you know, can we expect any president to completely fix things? I think, you know, the president has so much power the Senate and the House, they have a different set of power. We have the 3 branches of government, and all 3 of those branches have power, and they're supposed to be the checks and balances and stuff like that. Now, so I think we have to trust in our system, and know that our system is going to eventually. I think it's getting better all the time.
Yeah,
and sometimes we have to like take a look back and look at some ugly parts of our society and say, hey, this needs to be fixed. You know what I mean? And then fix it.
Yeah.
You know, is it perfect? No.
I appreciate that. I'm just trying to understand. I just feel like a lot of that. I feel like a lot of what was done in the past administration was very political party line. Mm-hmm. And a lot that's going to be done this administration is very political party line. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think neither of those serve the ultimate goal, which is unifying the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to me, again, 100% supportive. I can't say it anymore clearly. You know what I mean? 100% supportive. But what are we really going after as a nation? That's a huge goal that we should be working towards. That's not.
So I think there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that as a nation we need to fix right now. And so I think, you know, any little step towards positivity, I think is what we want. And if it's you know, showing a part of American culture that they're included, you know, I think it's good. And
I appreciate that. That makes sense.
And so it you know, and it just doesn't stop there. It goes for everybody, for everything, you know.
But Biden has to know by doing that he's pissing off half the country. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is it's inclusive, but it's also not inclusive.
But that's just that's just in one. I mean, I think there's things in every decision that politicians make that's going to piss off somebody. You know,
it's very divisive by nature.
Yeah, it's divisive by nature. But there's other things that are just as divisive on the other side.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. Fuck yeah. Again, I'm not on any side.
Yeah.
And I'm totally fucking pro.
I think we have to just
fucking gay everything. I don't give a shit.
For me, it's more of like trust the system. Yeah. Is the system 100% great? No, but it's the best system.
I agree with that.
And so, you know, can we work on making it better? Absolutely. Should we work on making it better? Absolutely. You know what I mean? But that's the thing is like we cannot stop working on it.
And should you do your fucking civic duty?
Exactly. Absolutely. And if, you know, whatever it is in any capacity, it is, you know, you're a part of this. You know, the thing that I took from Coach Garcia and that little story I told you about me being Mexican was that I'm American. I'm an American, and I need to do what I can to make this place better. Right. You know what I mean? And so,
can I give you a different perspective on that?
Yeah.
I think what Coach Lito was telling you is don't let the fact that you're Mexican limit you.
And that's what I was getting at. That's what I was getting at. Don't limit yourself because of that. And it's true. You know what I mean? It is completely true, because as soon as I got that, as soon as that kind of got in my head, completely different life.
Your life changed.
Different life. And so and that's why I think in everybody, you know, like I love my Mexican heritage.
Right.
Freaking love it. I fucking get goosebumps when I hear Mexico Lindo y Querido by fucking...
When a Mexicana sings, dude.
Or something. You know what I mean? I hear a mariachi and my
that shit's like fucking beauty to my soul.
Depends on the songs, you know what I mean? Or I hear a banda, you know, or something like that. Like I fucking love my Mexicanness. But I fucking love my Americanness
and
too.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No. And so I love my Americanness, and I'm proud to be an American, and I'm 100% American.
And Mexicans will call you Uncle Tomas.
Yeah.
You know?
And all that stuff.
It's so stupid,
or like
man.
I was called a race trader.
It's so stupid,
I mean? Which is dumb.
It's so stupid.
I mean? It's like, you know, I'm here. I'm provided this awesome opportunity to grow up in the United States, where if you work hard, you're gonna get you're gonna get reciprocated for it. Where, you know, there's things that can be fixed. There are things that are unfair. Absolutely.
Sure.
But if you go somewhere else, it's way more unfair.
100%.
You know, it's way more unfair. You know,
Yeah. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
Let's end it on this note. It's okay to love America.
Yes.
It's okay to love Mexico.
Yes.
It's okay to be gay.
Yes.
It's okay to be straight.
Be you.
It's okay to be conservative.
Yeah.
It's okay to be fucking progressive. It doesn't matter. Be
No.
you. This
Be
is
you.
America. You can be who you want to be.
Exactly.
But the most important thing I think we need to say is while all those things are okay, you must be nice to other people.
Exactly. So that then takes me back to Benito Juárez, who says, "El respeto al derecho ajeno es la paz."
Why you gotta bring him
what
up?
I mean? Benito Juárez.
Do you know that Benito Juárez, who was the first black president in North America?
Benito Juárez.
Yes, sir. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna spit some facts to people that I'm gonna start adding segments to my podcast that are, mind spinning or mind to make people think a little bit. So if people think Barack Obama was the first black president of North America. No, he was not. Benito Juárez was.
You gotta include me in those because I got some things too.
Benito Juárez was also a Mason. And the guy he was fighting against in Mexico was another Mason. And that war they were going against each other was, when I say Mason, Freemasons, Illuminati, quote unquote.
Yeah.
The war they fought against each other. And there's a whole historical context around that I'm going to talk about on one of these podcasts. Here's one thing I want to bring up before I end this that I think is critically important, that I think people need to really understand. The story you were taught in school is not the real story.
It's not the whole story.
It's not the whole story. Yes, not the whole story. So, for instance, when I watched this inauguration, I let Joe Biden have his moment because I thought it was a beautiful moment for people on the left to have. It sucked for them for 4 years. I understand that. But Joe Biden ain't it, and the left progressive party ain't it. And I'm going to explain to you something that I think people don't understand. There was a part of the inauguration where there was, I can't remember his name, but he's an R&B singer. He's playing the piano, and he's in front of the Arlington Monument, which is Lincoln. He's a black man. Like, oh, God, what's his name? I can't remember his name. I feel like an asshole. In any case, a very popular black R&B artist is playing the piano in front of the Washington Monument, which is essentially, and in the background, you can see Abraham Lincoln, right? And politicians often bring up Abraham Lincoln as the beacon of light, has the beacon of people, the person who freed the slaves, has a person who was like this great fucking guy. But what people don't understand, and I'm going to blow your fucking mind if you listen to this, because most people don't know this.
I think I know where you're going.
Yeah. He was an absolute white supremacist while being an abolitionist. So I'm going to explain that. And I'll get deeper into it in another podcast because it's something I could talk about for hours. There are many.
He was against the Mexican American War.
No, worse than that.
Well, no, he was against not because it was wrong to invade a sovereign country. He didn't want
before that.
He didn't want Americans. This was when he was a senator.
No, before that, when he was running for president early on, he basically said in black and white, "I am not, nor will I ever be, for the equality of blacks and whites in this country. Blacks shall never come to the point of being equal to whites."
So his thing was preserving the Union.
His thing was preserving it. So what he did was he said, "I am not for slavery. I want to," because it was a political thing. So what I'm saying is he was an absolute white supremacist, but he agreed to getting rid of slavery so that he can be voted into office. Yes. So we've been told the narrative and the story that people have no fucking clue. And I'm exhausted and tired and disgusted. Hold on. And disgusted with fucking politicians every fucking time that I see them on TV that bring up Abraham Lincoln and MLK. Let's talk about MLK for a second. Right? He was killed by white fucking people. And they want to use him as this scapegoat to say he was amazing and he was pro this and pro that. Yeah, you guys fucking killed him too. You know what I mean? I can go on and on and on. But the Abraham Lincoln one is one that I'm going to talk in depth about. And there's a speech that he gave when he was trying to get into office. The first time he ran twice before he got in. And the first time he says, "I am not, nor have I ever been in favor of the equality of the black man with the white man, nor do I ever care for them to be in powers of position," and a bunch of other stuff. And I'll go on and on and on. So all you people who think that this whole Abraham Lincoln shit and John, what's his name? John fucking, the guy who's playing the piano. John something. He's an R&B guy. I can't remember his name. John something. In any case, he's playing it in front of them, and people are like, "Oh, this is great. This is awesome. This is equality and fucking we've made it, and the races have made it." No, you have not. They're just playing you again. They're playing you again and again and again, and they've been doing it, by the way, for 150 fucking years since that man died.
Yeah,
and
so it's just like there's like a bunch of different versions of history that if you
his speech is documented.
If you read Howard Zinn's People's History of the United States,
I read that, but I don't like that either, though.
I
don't like that book either. That book is what every college kids get. That's why we have Antifa. We have Antifa because of that book, and that book also is the extreme opposite of what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many different versions of everything that it's hard unless you were there to know. And so a good historian will take all these into account. These different.
That book, no, that's different. That book is very much opinion. Where there are speeches that are documented in our fucking our halls of our fucking, what do they call it? The museum in DC, the
Smithsonian.
The Smithsonian,
archives?
Yeah, in the archives. It's documented in what Abraham Lincoln was saying. Abraham Lincoln was an absolute white supremacist. He was an abolitionist because of politics, but he was an absolute white supremacist. Yeah. And white people will tell you, because I've had my friends tell me, well, that's because that's how it was back then. Yeah. Fuck off. You can't tell. We can argue about whether or not green salsa or red salsa are good or bad. Yeah. But we can't argue or not whether the fact that black people are equal or not. We can't argue about that. That's just a dumb thing we should not be arguing about.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I think Morgan Freeman has said it the best. He says, "You want to end racism? Stop talking about it. Yeah. Stop talking about it. Stop making it a thing." Yeah. You know what I mean? Refer to him as a man, not a black man. Refer to me as a man, not a Latino man or a Mexican man.
He did a great job at that. Yeah.
So, and the thing is that there are those people who their sole purpose is keeping that thing going because it gives them relevance.
Right.
But so they need racism to exist in order for them to have a position of power. Right. You know what I mean?
But I think what I'm saying is different, though. What I'm saying
I understand that. What I'm saying
people are in a sense have been taught something.
Yeah.
And they don't understand what the reality of life was then, and what the reality of the scope of how bad it really is. You know what I mean? So they're upset about what they see today, but if they only knew what it really was, they would have no fucking idea. Like, we have been taught since we were in fucking kindergarten. We made Abraham Lincoln little fucking hats, in Miss Wright's class, right? Yeah. Like, all this shit, right? We have been taught that this guy was the guy who freed the slaves. Sure, he freed the slaves, but he was still at the level of like Germanic Nazi fucking white supremacy. He was a white supremacist, but we're not going to talk about that. Why not? I think what I'm going to do on this podcast is I want to drop something like this every podcast, just to make people think and to make people go research.
Yeah. And once you research and everybody, I think that's like the most important thing is to research and to read up on things and make sure that you're informed and you make informed decisions. And I think it'll be better for everybody in terms of politics, in terms of everything like that, and then also not only just like read books or watch documentaries or stuff like that, but then look at who makes them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Looks at what the intent was behind it. You know what I mean. I stop and think of the whole. I learned about veganism and where it came from, and it was. Not to knock on religions or anything like that, but it was a Seventh-day Adventist thing that where people were. This lady had passed out, and she had a vision from God that told her that we shouldn't eat anything with a face on it or once had a mother. And the person that was chronicling her visions and publishing her visions was a young Mr. Kellogg.
Yeah, of course.
So then,
that's a crazy story too. We can talk about that. Yeah. The Kellogg story.
Yeah.
Cereal. Like, people have no idea that story. That's a fucking insane story.
Yeah.
So say that for another podcast.
Yeah.
Because that's a podcast. See, people don't know about veganism. See, that's what I'm saying. That's a great example. People, please Google the story of Kellogg.
Yes.
And it'll blow your mind. Google the story of Abraham Lincoln saying that he was not or never will ever be for the equality of white men or black men with white men. Just Google this shit. It'll blow your mind.
So and the thing is not to go and investigate this stuff to get angry. It's to go and to be informed. Yes. And I think it's an informed populace. It makes for a better populace.
Sure.
And that way our democracy can thrive.
Or at least to understand that we were taught wrong. Now let's teach right.
Yeah. And that's the way it should always be. You know, at one point, everybody believed the world was flat.
Everyone also believed Christopher Columbus was a fucking angel who came here and discovered America.
Yeah.
There was 65 million fucking Native Americans here when he came here. But the flip side of that, and
I'm gonna go to your house and discover your house, and it's mine.
No, but here's the thing too, though. The flip side of that is the people who say, "Oh, well, they came here and they raped and pillaged and murdered." Well, guess what? The Native Americans who were warring against each other too.
Well, I mean,
there's a flip side to everything.
So yeah, there was. I mean, obviously, we can't answer for the evils of our ancestors,
right?
You know what I mean? Which goes back to thinking that there's if you look at, we can move forward from things, and you keep those things in mind so that we don't repeat those mistakes. That's how we learn history is to not continue to
repeat it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that the thing you have to do is at that point is take those things and move forward. Because if you let them tear at you, which at one point I did let them tear at me.
Right. When we were younger, we were like that, right?
Yeah. And so
Rage Against the Machine fucking inspired us all of us.
So then I let it tear at me, and I wasn't happy. And I wasn't, and it's not like I'm swallowing the little pill like from freaking the Matrix and everything like that, where I want to go back. No, it's not that at all. It's that you have to, at one point you have to say, okay, that happened. I can't fix that. I can't go back in time. I can change what I can do to today and tomorrow, but I can't change what happened.
I agree.
300 years
100%.
Ago. So I think we have to learn from those, from the mistakes, from the mistakes, from the bad judgment, from the malicious acts. We have to learn from all that and just make sure that we don't repeat that stuff.
100%.
So
I just want to educate people a little bit, because I feel there's a lot of us who just have not been taught these things, and we don't care. You know what I mean? And a lot of us don't care. They're fixated in their bubble. People rather are fixated in their bubble of life, of work. And I get up, I go to work, I feed my kids, I make a check, whatever else. But some of this stuff is important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so to me, like the MLK thing for me is critically important, right? For me, MLK, like we celebrate him every year, and he is a backdrop every fucking year. His daughter posted it on Twitter that was amazing. She said, "Don't act like everyone fucking like my father. He was on the fucking biggest hit list on the FBI hit list at one point. Don't act like he was my. If you want to act like something, fucking take what he died for." And inspire others with it. But don't act like he was the most respected, loved person in this fucking country, because he was not. He was on a fucking hit list.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is those things matter. Understanding that Abraham Lincoln was an absolute white supremacist, but he abolished slavery, doesn't take away from him abolishing slavery by any means.
No.
By any means. That was an amazing fucking thing to do. He was a person who put his neck on the line for that. And during those times, his sort of
literally put his neck on the line.
Literally put his neck on the line. Yeah. But also don't forget the history of this country. History is everything. So that we don't repeat it again. You made the point, let's not repeat this shit again.
Yeah.
But also a lot of people don't even know the history.
Yeah. And
there's so much fucking history.
Yeah.
Let's end it on that, brother.
All right.
Hey, it was a good one. We went a long time. We went 3 hours, and this is the longest podcast I think I've ever fucking done.
And we could have gone so much.
We keep going. And we didn't even, honestly, we didn't even touch on the topics that we intended to touch on, which we will, the next podcast together. We want to talk about young men, raising young men.
We brought up some of those points.
Right. But we didn't really get deep into it. So there's a lot of stuff we want to talk about. There's some other people we want to have on the podcast in the future who are already doing work with young children in the communities, that are working with young men and women. And there's a lot of stuff to come. So thank you guys for listening.
Absolutely. And,
we appreciate
hopefully it won't be the last time. This
of course not, brother. Are you kidding me? Come on, you're my dog. So we're gonna do this again.
And then hopefully next time we hear a thinner hobby.
Fuck off. The girls like me fat. I ain't gonna lie. The girls like me at my torso self.
It's all right. It's all right.
But I'm gonna eat meat for like the next 3 weeks and shit my brains out. We'll figure it out.
You can do that. All you can eat ribs at the tee off on Wednesday nights.
Let's do it, bro.
There you go.
All right, everybody, we appreciate you, man. I'm glad you guys hung out there. It was a long one. Me and the bro talking for a long time. This is my doggy dog. Thank you for listening. Again, please follow, subscribe, so that when I drop a new episode, you'll automatically get a notification on your phone. So we're on Spotify, iTunes, basically any podcasting platform you're on. Just search for Hashing Out with Javi. You'll find me. Again, please subscribe, and thank you very much. We appreciate you all. Have a good one.